But hello, everyone, and welcome to another Darachat. My name is Daramouthe, or Dara for short, because sometimes people mispronounce the last part of it. It's Daramouthe. Some people say Daramouth. I understand, but it's pronounced Daramouthe. So I've had it happen one too many times. Even my real life name, someone's mispronounced it. So there you go. But anyway, my guest had to. I think they said they had to update their computer, so they have to restart it. So that, it's this whole thing. So it'll be a few minutes before they get in, or it'll be a bit before they get in. I'm trying to keep an eye on things, make sure that they're not having issues trying to get in, because sometimes that happens, right? Some people have issues getting in. Somehow it's still the camera. Somehow some cameras don't work and others do. I don't get it. I'm just I'm just here trying to do this silly little thing and having other people come on, which has been a joy in itself. But anyway, how are all of you doing today? I know today is Sunday. It's very odd for me to do one on Sunday. Again, I usually just keep weekends to people who can't do it on the weekdays. And so that's just how the scheduling worked out. And I don't do the weekends very often because I would like to have my time off. I do have a full time job, so I do need to. I would like to have my time off. Oh, it, he he has entered. He has entered the chat. Well, not really. He hasn't entered the chat, but I'm pretty sure he'll come in shortly. But yeah, I am glad to be doing this thing, and of course, still trying to get people on is always a like I've said before, it's still a challenge. It's still trying to like walk a tightrope. You go on a tightrope. You do this, you do that, all this stuff, and it's not an easy gig. But at the end of the day, though, it's worth its manner in order to what is it? It's worth it in order to cross the bridge in order to connect more, right? Because we're all separated by these teams, these silly things that uh are you there?
If you're asking me if I'm here, I've been here. I've never done it on Rumble before, so I don't know the
No,
layouts
no,
or
no,
anything.
no, no. You're fine. Yeah, Rumble Studios. Yeah, it's okay. No, I was just like I saw you back there. I was like, oh, I hope he's all right because you told me you had to restart your computer. So like,
Yeah.
oh, that's
Okay. So
not fun.
so it's not showing my beautiful face. It keeps trying to pull from a. Oh wait, is it? Does OBS need to be up for this?
Well, you don't have to if you don't want to. Usually, you
No,
can.
I prefer to show just because because I usually do things on camera. I'm just not sure how to.
Well, it's virtual cam. That's the thing that they connect to is the virtual cam part of OBS. So I
I
don't
have
know if
no
you've ever.
idea what a virtual cam is.
It's so when you're if you've ever used OBS, right? There's the little sidebar. It says start live stream, start recording, all that stuff. Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, you got it.
Except for there's no me. Let's figure out why that is.
We could. Ooh, yeah, that's a good me. Oh my gosh, look at
Oh,
that.
but see, but there's no. There's no me though, and I'm not sure why that is.
um, yeah, you have to. Just the virtual cam part. Yeah, I don't fully understand myself. Some cameras work. Some cameras work directly with it. Some don't. I don't understand why that is.
Oh
It's
well.
it's Rebel Studios. But yeah, but no, I've seen your beautiful face before, so I got an idea. But we can still bring you up like this. There you go.
There we go. That works.
Yeah, words of paradise, and he's holding he's holding a
Here,
magic
I know
card.
what I can do. Hold on a second. I know what I can do. Let's add an image. How to add an
Hey,
image? Here we
Steve.
go. Media source. Bet I can add this right here.
I wait to see the magic. The magic
Yeah,
they
we're
call. Can I
gonna
do the
try
thing?
some.
Magic.
Try some I've never tried before.
Oh, that usually when you say something like that, there's supposed to be like huge explosions after the fact. So,
But how are you doing, bud? This is our first time talking. It's nice to meet you. I apologize for being late. Yeah, my computer. I got back from the movies. And I was like, all right, let's all do all this stuff. And there's like updating coming. It's like, oh no, are there rules on here? I know it's a Rumble, so I don't know if there's. Oh, are you're going to YouTube as well?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
I'm using what they have is Rumble Studios. It's their own streaming thing. It's free, of course, but you can stream to multiple platforms through it: X, Facebook, Kick, I believe, locals, and so much. Oh wow, I see an extra, but you're a little off center.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix that now. Let's.
Oh, there you go. Oh wow. Oh nope. Hey, he's got a parrot. Everyone, he's got a parrot.
Yeah, normally my parrot shows with me on stream, but he's not
Yeah,
gonna do that today.
there you go. See, that's like
Bingo,
twice.
bango, bongo. There we are.
That's right. Look, that's like twice the words of paradise right there. I think that.
Yeah, that's word squared, son. You, I was gonna, I bought special scotch or whiskey just to do this with you, but you
That's
can't
right.
show it off apparently since the stuff's not working. So I guess you're just gonna have to hear me sip.
Yeah, that's all right. That's usually the best. That's usually the best part because it's gonna be You can tell us it's scotch, but we'll never know if it's scotch. See, that's the true magic right there.
Also, various greetings to you as well, Steve64464. Appreciate you being here, brother.
Yep. That's he's on the YouTube side, and yeah, I can bring up chat from both Rumble, any of the parts I'm streaming to. So, but yeah, no, thank you for coming. I know you just got done watching the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So how was that for you?
Well, it's the second time I've seen it, so you tell me because
Oh.
I also saw it opening night.
Well, I didn't see it. I didn't see it opening night. I saw it the day after, and
Nice.
it was pretty good for my. There were a lot of surprise cameos in there that I didn't expect. Although I thought it was just good fun because
Yeah.
it's sort of like a the movie, the Marvel movie that ran away from Marvel, that sort of thing. It's off the
Yeah.
chains. It's off the chains.
Yeah, no, I really I enjoyed it. Like I wasn't expecting a whole lot just because it's like you said it's Marvel, but
Mm.
all in all, it was definitely all I needed it to be.
Yeah, I think at some point people expect Oscar-worthy movies, not with just Marvel, right? Not with just. I think a lot of people, because you see a lot of people who do the entertainment stuff, right? They nitpick at every point and they expect a Oscar-worthy type movie all the time. And for me, it's just like that's just not going to be there used to be a movie a long time ago called Wild Hogs, right? It had Tim
I
Allen.
love Wild Hogs, bro. I'm not even gonna lie, I fucking love that movie.
It never won an Oscar, but a lot of people enjoyed it. And I think and again, from my perspective, right, a lot of people who do the commentary on movies and such, like, was it good, was it bad, or whatever, like the sort of like the Chris Stuckman, if you will. Not in that sense. But my issue has always been is like, I can't fully trust a person's opinion on a movie, say like a content creator, whatever, because my thing is that at a time they can say it's total dog crap and I go and see it and I enjoyed it. And so that's where the disparity of that issue lies with me, is that you can't really, I could hear whatever content creator say, yeah, this movie was bad, it was woke, is whatever. I go and it's like, I enjoyed it. I don't know what the heck they were seeing.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to film in particular, like because people obviously, you brought the term woke, so I'm sure a lot of the story of what we cover in terms of the pop culture and the way the political ideologies attached to it. But by the same token, I think people get too entrenched in that sort of thing. You got to have a healthy balance. Like Deadpool Wolverine, for example, absolutely made jokes about the woke side, but also they made jokes about the quote unquote right side, the right wing, whatever you want to say it is. So being able to strike that balance, I guarantee you there are going to be people that say this movie was woke, or say even if it's not, because it's Disney, they're not going to support it. And I'm like, look, if you want to go all in on that, sure, go for it. But as for me, don't get me wrong, I'm an anti-woke individual, but I don't want to become the same sort of cult as the woke individual. So to not be an echo chamber, you got to be able to do shit yourself and have your own opinions.
I feel like at a certain point, a thing, right, whether it be content, DEI or bridge or all this stuff, whatever, at a certain point, it gets big enough that it does feel like it becomes its own cult, right? Because you join someone because you agree. So let's put it this at a basic term. We follow people, a content creator, because they're in some form or basis our bias agrees with theirs, right? You don't follow somebody, you enjoy their content, sure, but there's something that they say or do along their scope of content creation of their bias that your bias agrees with them as well. They say something that feels great to you, right? That's why we hear people say based. And I'm like, well, base is just bias with an, with a less vowel, one less vowel. But that's just my perspective. But it does kind of feel like you can take the politics, the entertainment, it doesn't matter. As soon as some form of thing gets bigger enough or big enough, it does feel like it becomes its own form of a cult. And that's the weird side effect of this tribalism we build or have.
Oh, dude, for sure. I did a video like 2 weeks ago criticizing libs of TikTok, and I knew making this video that I was going to lose subs from it, and I did not give a fuck. I ended up losing 13 subs off that video, and my thought process was, good. I didn't want you here. You don't have to agree with me. I do not care if people agree with me or not. If you were, my thought process is you should be able to watch one of my videos, hear something you disagree with, and be like, I value that he has a different opinion. I don't agree, but I value that he has a different opinion. And if you can't do that and you want to unsub, good, fuck you. I didn't want you as a viewer anyway. I don't want people to only agree with me. I definitely want people who disagree to watch and whatnot, because I want to build a community that is that values differing opinions. And yeah, so yeah, if you can't handle the fact that I was dogging on mommy libs at TikTok or whatever, then yeah, go fuck yourself. Because literally the very next day, guess what? Pro-Trump video, and guess what? A bunch of people came back. It's like, oh, see, you'll come back when I do say shit you like, but you can't handle an opinion that goes against your delicate sensibilities. Like there is such a thing as right-wing woke, in my opinion.
I think, well, politics in any country is going to be a entrenched in,
yeah, but America's the only country that matters. Let's be real. Let's be fucking real. Like, is anybody caring about the hard-hitting news of what's going on in Canada, if not for what was happening in America?
Well, I will give you an example that could support what you're putting down. So here's one thing I've learned. You do not care about what happens to the Chinamen in China, because your life is about what's in your area, your friends, and to a certain degree what's within your built community.
Ironically enough, my best friend's wife is Chinese, so there's actually a lot of China in my life. But I get what you mean. Continue.
Right. Well, and then there we go. We're all done. No, but then again, the reverse happens too. Is like that. Not to the people you're talking about, but the Chinaman, the person in Africa, they don't care about you because they don't know you. Hey, Toasty.
Hey, Toasty with Emoji in the house. How you doing, girly?
Yeah, nice. And
I love this woman right here. This sex-based Latina fucking. I'm gonna get all misogynistic on this little spick. She likes to call her that. She's like, "Oh, Leon, Daddy, call me a stick harder. Call me a beer while wearing a beanie."
Oh goodness!
So glad we're on fucking Rumble. I would say this shit on YouTube though, to be fair. So
I don't care either way. I just don't.
Cool.
Don't be the big gamer words. That's all I ask. Where was I? But yeah, it's sort of like you in essence can be correct, but then someone in their former other country can say our country's the best, and every person in another country has that. So it's not like you'd be the only one, but that's why I think wars are such an easy thing, because there's such a disparity there of you don't know the person across the way, you wouldn't care at all. So at least it's for my opinion anyway.
No, I mean, to be fair, so the reason I say no other country matters, and I even, if you're in, let's take people, I've got a friend who lives in the Philippines, and my friend that lives in the Philippines is British. So he's a Brit who immigrated to the Philippines, got himself a Filipino wife, started himself a fucking business, all that sort of shit. But he cares about what's going on in America because this British Filipino motherfucker is intelligent enough to know America kind of does, in fact, run the world at the end of the day. For better or worse, you don't have to like it, but that is just what matters. Like, America's got a really, really big influence on the way that the capitalistic Western free world works. Yeah, they don't really have an influence on China or Russia or anything like that, but in terms of the capitalistic free world, America is kind of numero uno. So when he sees shit going down politically that is hardcore left-leaning, that is entrenched in taking away the values and the rights of the American people, he knows that influence could spread to other parts of the Western world, and that worries him. So, yeah, I think American politics should matter to any first world Western-oriented country.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can have an example with the UK itself because the UK keeps showing that it can't be a country after it's been a country for thousands of years at this
Thousands of
point.
years.
Yeah, but the unfortunate side effect is that that's also a show of people not standing up for their country, and I think that's kind of the issue is who runs. Well, at its basic point, people run the country, right? It's humans running. Humans make a government, humans make the rules, blah 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 blah. That's the basic line of it. But at the end of the day, though, there is a point where in time they just they get complacent. I mean, that's the biggest point, right? Like, you could go from say like the early 1900s where things were technology is growing and all this stuff, but it's not the point we have now. And right now, it feels like with all that we have, we're complacent because the toys keep us busy, right? That's we have people online who do all these different things and all this stuff, and we can watch it on our phone, computer, whatever. Heck, we can have a what is it? I don't know if a Steam Deck can, but you can have your basically your phone and watch a video anywhere. And so it's just this funny thing of like just, we're complacent with our toys. It's basically what it is.
And so it's one of those things where, funnily enough, I was so I work in IT, right? So I fix computers and I fix servers and shit like that. So at the end of the day, I actually don't want to do shit with technology once I'm off work, once I'm off the regular 9 to 5 grind. Like, all right, I'll play some video games to de-stress, which to be fair, that's what you mean, play with your toys. But by the same token, before getting into YouTube, before getting into streaming, I had no idea how any of this shit worked because I didn't want to, I didn't like the level of how advanced our technology was getting, and then I felt like I was being left behind and things to that
Right.
effect. But by the same token, it's like, well, you know what? The best way to spread your voice, your influence, your thoughts, your opinions is via the internet. And
Yeah.
so you got to take in the initiative and learn that shit. And I was happy to do it. It ended up becoming a fun hobby for me to do that
Mhm.
honestly has transcended being a hobby. And again, eternally grateful, but I guess it evolves. It's only a toy if you treat it as a toy. And
Mhm.
because I mean, people who go mudding, their fucking souped up Jeeps are toys to them. But really, that toy, that Jeep, is a vehicle for getting you to point A to point B in an efficient, timely manner if you use it
Mhm.
as a tool. So, you know what I mean?
Right. No, no. Yeah. Not all things. I would say not all things are toys because some of the technology is can be destructive in its own right, and that's what heavier
Toys can
stuff.
be destructive. Boba Fett toys from 1979 or whatever it was had to be recalled because the little jet turbines thing, the little rocket was,
Yeah.
kids were choking on it and shit. So that was literally a toy made to be a toy, and it was destructive just by oversight. And yes, Toasty, I have beautiful hair. I would love to show it off on this stream. Unfortunately, I cannot get the virtual camera working because I am retarded.
No, you're fine. Some people have had the issues with the camera thing too. It's not just you, but not everyone has the same issue as well, which is a weird thing to me. But I digress. The point of the matter is I've always seen this as no matter what humans create, it has a duality. It has a good and bad to it, but by itself, it has no issue of that alone, because a tool itself can't cause harm or help in creation if
Yeah,
it's
it's
untouched.
entirely about the user, which is that
Yes.
that goes to the gun argument. Like, yeah, I've seen countries that banned guns entirely, and guess what? They start fucking killing each other with ice picks. Like, it's a human thing, guys.
Right. It goes with the old saying, if there's a will, there's a way. And that includes in how people destroy themselves as well. So there you go.
And I will say, Toasty with the mosty, you're right. Not every woman is smart like you because you were pretty smart for a woman.
Earning them brownie points. Yeah, yeah. That's we call that bragging, kids. We call that bragging. Um, but yeah, it's just and and I don't, and again with what I do, I don't just stick with one area of things because I know entertainment is a very wide field. Movies, video games, all sorts of stuff. But it does feel like it's saturated to the point that you're not sure you're not sure where you have to be listening to. And I think that again, that's where people just choose to find certain people that agree with them,
Right.
or
Well,
or
and like
whatever.
when it comes to entertainment specifically, I grew up a nerd. I 100% I grew up a nerd. I was
Mhm.
bullied in school for being a nerd. Like I was literally the stereotypical John Hughes nerd that got shoved in lockers and had to have my fucking sixth period history teacher let me out of a locker. And I have always embraced my love of anime and movies and video games and all this sort of stuff. And were we not in this political climate, I would still be making videos and whatnot based on nerd culture, but it might be like, oh, here's the hidden meaning behind Ocarina of Time and do like a video essay on that. Or like, here's the reason that Dragon Ball Z still holds up all these years later and do like a video
Right.
essay on that. And frankly, I want this culture war to end so I can get back to doing those sorts of videos and whatnot. Because if there are people out there that are doing there's people out there that make these sort of reactionary anti-woke videos and they don't want the culture war to end because that is their livelihood. That is how they sustain their
Right.
pocketbooks. If all this woke shit ended tomorrow, I can tell a lot of content creators would be out of business. If all this woke shit ended tomorrow, I would fucking rejoice because yeah, I make anti-woke videos right now, but by the same token, I'm a-okay with switching to something different if it means not having to bitch and moan about what's going on in pop culture. Like I just feel like I cannot in good conscience pretend it's not happening and make all these nerdy videos about things I love and pretend they're not being destroyed. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's understandable too. But where's the stopping point, right? Because I mean, the culture war thing in itself is sort of a misnomer because it's only related to the era of which you're in, right? Because we can go
No,
back.
I completely disagree. There's culture war. Like I don't know a damn thing about cars. I don't know anything about cars. I don't do things with mechanics, anything to that effect. However, there's culture war stuff going on in the car scene because if Ford starts hiring DEI hires and all of a sudden alternators start getting built wrong and people's cars start fucking up because of these DEI hires buying the cars. I mean,
Right.
yeah, there's a culture war there because Ford will have been. Now I'm just using Ford as an example. I don't know if
Right.
Ford's a woke company, but they're an example. If Ford
Right.
starts doing a bunch of DEI hires and starts fucking up cars as a result, well, that's
Mhm.
because they've embraced a culture of valuing DEI over merit, for example. So the culture war does not only exist in whatever you're interested in. It just you only have the knowledge about it in whatever avenue you're interested in. I guarantee you that there's a culture war going on in let's say cheerleading. I don't know dick about cheerleading. Believe it or not, I'm not actually gay. That's just a joke that gets made all the time. But I don't
Right.
know shit about cheerleading. However, I guarantee you there's been some, fucking non-binary black dudes with they them pronouns who've tried out to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Right.
And one of these days, the Dallas Cowboys might be afraid of getting talked bad about on the internet, and they will say yes to that. So while I'm not a sports guy or a cheerleading fan, hey, that means there's still a culture war there.
Right. Well, when I was trying to say was is that we aren't doing the same things they were doing in ancient Egypt, right? There was a culture there too, but it's not the same. So a culture war, in essence, is locked to the era it's in. It's not going to be the same 1,000 years from now, and that's my point.
Right.
We can say we're in a culture war, sure, fine, that's great, but it's not going to be the same 1,000 years from now. Maybe 100 years from now, because everything changes
No,
in
but
between.
1,000 or 100 years from now, the culture could be better or worse depending on the actions that are taken now.
Possibly, but we'll never know because you'll never be alive to see it. So it's
See,
that.
we don't even know that because I mean we very well might. Who knows where we'll be technologically? I mean, people in ancient Egypt fucking lived till 32 years old, got an ear infection, and fucking keeled over. As opposed to now, we live to be 87. So I don't know about you. I turn 30 tomorrow. By the time I'm 50, there might be some radical technology that makes us live to 150. Then hey, I might get to see the effects of what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Sorry, I get these Ben Shapiro fucking rants, so I just start going off. You'll have to cut me off and establish dominance, son. Like,
no, it's the point of the matter is though is that you don't know, right? So we can take the example of what was it the what was it early 30s or 40s where they would predict like certain objects would be here or like flying cars, the jetpacks, whatever. Well, we may have a form of a jetpack, but not in the way they thought. Flying cars, maybe not so much, but there are things that maybe or maybe not exist from that point on. And yeah, I mean, if you treat yourself well, right? If you treat yourself well, if you eat healthy, you may be able to extend your life. But then there's all the genetic factors and all this other stuff. Oh, and Tosie says you're younger than her, so there you go. You beat her
hey,
by a age.
Thank you
Nice.
so much, Toasty. If you're not busy tomorrow, hit me up on Discord or X later because I might have a question for you. Sorry, continue, Dharma.
No, you're fine. But yeah, it's sort of like, yeah, I just see it as perceptual as it's always going to be a something of motion, but it's never going to be the same motion of what we have now because it's
Well,
always going
yeah,
to
people
change.
say history repeats. History doesn't repeat. History rhymes. You could, like you say that what was going on in Egypt is different now. It is different, but by the same token, and I don't know about Egypt. I'm not very knowledgeable on Egypt. But I will use Rome, which I am very
Right,
knowledgeable on. And what was going on during the because the fall of Rome? People talk about the fall of Rome as if it was happened overnight. No, the fall of Rome
right.
was about an 800-year process or 300-year process. But over the
Right.
course of those 300 years, shit was slowly degrading, and you can mirror that to what's going on now. It was not the same as what's going on now.
Mm,
However, that was so history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. It was very similar.
Yeah, it's just the technology that's different because they obviously didn't have a phone in their hand back in ancient Egypt.
If
So that's
anything, it took Rome 300. It took Rome 300 years to fall because they were falling by hand, as opposed to we might be accelerating that shit with technology. But man, I ain't gonna
yeah.
give up playing Devil May Cry 5 on my weekends. That technology is pretty fucking nice. Like,
Yeah, well, and you it does become a choose your poison sort of thing because again, we're not escaping that. The only way you're escaping any of this technological factor, and unfortunately, a lot of people will be out of their job, is an EMP blast. Like once the power goes out, we're all pretty much done in that essence. So that's the only way you'll get allegedly. What do you mean allegedly? Oh, he's talking about the Roman Empire allegedly. I don't. We don't know. Smart. Well, that's true. We did know if they had ancient smartphones, but no one's proven anyway otherwise. So fatal. Next thing you learn,
I mean, look, Fatal Nexus. I do not believe that ancient Egypt has smartphones. However, I do believe that there are ancient humans that had ancient technology that has been lost to time. And there's been multiple resets, multiple human resets throughout the course of the thousands upon thousands of years, and that I think there's been lost time to humans. The technology that we have now is very different than what they had back then, but I think they did have advanced technology back then that we just whether we've lost it or it's been intentionally covered up, I don't know.
mm,
And that's not even so much a conspiracy theory, so much so as there is evidence to show that. But the problem is because it happened in the past, there's no way to prove it. Like people talk
mm,
about evidence, and as a former cop, people use evidence the wrong way, and it really bothers me
right.
because evidence is not is not information that leads to proof or leads to the truth. People are like, oh well, I have evidence. So and so did this. Evidence doesn't mean proof. Evidence is just a series of informations that lead to a conclusion. That
Mm,
conclusion can be the wrong conclusion. That stuff is
right.
still evidence. The evidence just led you to a wrong conclusion.
a little, a little fatal. No, and that's funny because you're probably the second other person I've talked to that was a former cop too. So that's pretty
Oh,
interesting.
really? I did
Yeah.
not last very long. Don't I was like a cop for 3 months, and then I realized I was real fucking bad at it. So
Well, there's another the lumpy potato I've had on who's over here on Rumble. He used to, I believe he used to be a cop in New York, and he just got tired of the whole ordeal, and so he does gaming. He's also a what's the term? He is a affiliate with Fortnite, so he gets all those niceties. But what is that?
Oh, no, hold on. Fatal Nexus, Fatal Nexus. I reject this entirely. Not only is there evidence, there's mathematical equations, there's multiple bits of evidence. Beyond things like the Boltzmann brain theory, you've got the Boltzmann brain theory, you've got the Higgs boson particle, you've got the fine tuning of the universe, and basically, it is mathematically and logistically far, far, far more likely that there is a higher power. Now, if you want to say which god, okay, fair enough. You can't give evidence to which god, but the idea of a god in general, yes, no, logistically and mathematically, it is like a 99% certainty that there is one.
Hey,
And yes,
bulldozer.
you could indict a sandwich. That is 100% accurate.
Oh, he's got a question for you. Oh,
Why do you reject it? No, so what I reject is your statement that you say there's no evidence. So maybe it was a typo or whatnot, but you said there isn't any evidence. I reject that because there actually is evidence.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Like you've
the
always
part I
asked.
reject.
Oh, he says people always ask for proof. Oh, so he's saying people ask for proof, not him. He says he believes in God, but people ask for proof, and there isn't any just evidence, or at least I
Yeah,
think
so
any
the
just
only
evidence
part I
that supports
disagree
it.
with is the last statement where you said there isn't any just evidence, because there is just evidence. But beyond that, I agree with all the rest of your statement. Yes.
Yeah, and uh, yeah, and going back to the old technology part, I think the one example that could agree to that point is the Antikythera theory. What was it? The piece of equipment that could tell the constellation and stars. I can't. Antica theorem or
Okay,
something.
hold on. Fatal Nexus correct. There isn't any comma, just evidence. Okay, I don't think I either didn't see the comma or okay, the comma wasn't there. Yes.
Yeah,
All right. Put
yeah.
it. The comma completely changed the meaning of that sentence. Okay, with the comma there, we're in 100% agreement. Gotcha.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
goodness,
The
yeah, that's
comma completely changed the context of that sentence. Well done.
yeah, that's usually I've seen those memes where it's like you put the comma in and you leave the comma out, and it totally changes the it'll totally change what it said. It's hilarious. Um, but yeah, I just there's always going to be those arguments, and I'm perfectly fine with having conversations of. It's just when you get to debate, it becomes more of the proving the side factor, and we live, and especially with the add-on, the technology, the social media stuff, we live in this world where it's about the being right factor, where not everyone is right, but it's a sad when it becomes the talking point of the day, like Twitter X and stuff, where it's not about
Fatal Nexus.
having a
If English is not your
conversation.
second language, or is your second language, is not your first, you're doing remarkably well. Then, mad congrats. You're doing great with your English. One missed comma thus far in the conversation. Other than that, you've been spot on. So yeah, you're great at English, my friend. Continue, Dartmouth.
There you go. Yeah,
I know that I'm saying your
no,
name
you're a guy.
wrong but it just rolls up the tongue that way.
It's you could just say Dare. Dare is fine too. Because my name is so I got it off the sounding of it from vermouth, right? Vermouth is an alcoholic drink. I don't drink alcohol, but regardless, I just played around with the word, and after a while, that's what I came up with Daramouthe for. But people say Daramouthe, and that's
Well, I just haven't been
understandable. But they
pronouncing
can
the
say
second
Daramouthe.
A. I've been saying Daramouthe and not Daramouthe, and for whatever reason, that second A is not coming to me because I'm retarded. So you brought me on during my
Yes,
Alex Jones moment. Like I'm kind of retarded.
yes, children. He does have ADHD. It's okay.
Yes, fully diagnosed. I have ADHD, OCD, dyslexia, and synesthesia. I'm a fucking mess.
He doesn't know how to drive, but when he does, it's always backwards.
That's why I drive a Ford Focus.
Yeah, it helps you focus. It helps you focus. Oh, thanks, Fatal. Thank you. He was on too, Fatal was on a while back. And Fatal's more of an investing kind of dude. So, but yeah, I've
Well,
had all
Fatal, find me on. You might very well be a guest on my show at some point. Find me on X at Bolt of the Word. I'd love to have a conversation. I invite all types on my show. Well, I'll probably get Dara on my show as well at some point.
right, yeah. Yeah, I've done the same. I've had VTubers on as well, so I'm reaching across the aisles right there. But yeah, it's been an interesting time because what was it? I've done it. I haven't done full. I've done full months for at least the past 3 to 4 months, but altogether, I think sometime next month I'll be at like 100 people. So in such a short period of
That's
time, and
crazy good.
yeah, I've never seen any other content creator do it because they usually do like once a week or twice a week, but I've done like almost every day of the week. So, and I just got tired of watching other content creators because it was a funny things like you have these content creators who have these following whatnot, and yeah, they may pick a niche like entertainment, movie, gaming, whatever. But at the end of the day, though, they've never really brought on people that follow them, and or they've never really, you can have someone who has 100,000 followers, but very few to none at all would ever be on their show or they'd ever be invited on. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. That's content to be made right there. You have people who follow you, 100,000 of them. And that's like content for the rest of your
Well,
days if you
that's
want
why
it to be.
there's one thing that I do on my Friday night stream that I fucking love, and I wish more content creators would do this. And not to try and plug my own shit but like, so my Friday night stream is a guaranteed 2-hour stream. However, if we hit $100 in donations, I extend the show by at least an hour. Usually goes way more than an hour, but I bring on my viewers. Now, if you've donated, you get first come, first serve. But then if enough people come on, let's say I've got 3, 4, 5 spots open, whatever, and all the people that donated are already on or want to come on, I start reaching out to people in the audience that didn't donate, and you just come on and we can have a conversation about what the fuck ever. I think it builds a lot more rapport with your audience than just being behind a text wall.
Yeah, exactly. And but of course, the panel ones, right? They kind of get like a lot of people on, and the conversation kind of gets lost. So I've tried to avoid that as well, since I started doing like a once a month thing where just have 4 people total on, and they're usually just people who once were guests on before. But it's sort of like making a cross pollination with other people, because you don't usually have that. And with either that or what is it? Either that or they don't reach into the fields. And I think people need to realize is that, yeah, you could start with a niche, but really at the end it should be going across everything, because I mean it's too vast. The valley is too vast to stay in one corner section of the internet. And I'm trying to get there at least. It's a tough job, but I'm trying to get there at least. So
and you're doing it primarily through Rumble, which is an even tougher job, but I think it's worth it at the end.
Well, through both, because both sides are growing, and part of it is having people on, and then going through those connections, having that person on, and more connections. It's just sort of opening a door after each person, right? Like through Jack Tarlat, I had on. I
love Jack. He's been on my show multiple times. Jack's a sweetheart.
Yeah, Jack's a cool. he's a cheeky monkey, but he's an all right guy.
He is, yes.
Hey, watch it there. Well, it's the best way I can describe it is cross-pollination, because I do think in order to have the conversations that we seem to get stuck in our as one would call it, echo chambers, our biases, we kind of need to get beyond ourselves. And whether you agree with people or not is a different issue, but I'm not here for arguments. I'm not here for debates. I'm here for just having the conversation of whatever that may be, because I found that it works and people enjoy it more when you're not, stuck to one field of anything. And I think that catches them off guard sometimes, but that's just from my perspective. I don't really know.
I mean, I love the debate. I think that the conversation and working through conversation is incredibly vital for people that are actually willing to open their idea or open their minds to the potentiality of being wrong. So, I mean, obviously, if debating is not your bag, I wouldn't say, do it or anything to that effect. Just like just me as a general rule. I love debating and disagreeing, because usually if you're with somebody rational, and I like to consider myself somewhat rational, having your viewpoints challenged and being able to take a step back and be like, fuck, am I wrong? Is a very important skill to have.
Right. Well, it wouldn't be, am I wrong? Is that you're probably more wrong than you are right, because there's just too many different perspectives in the world to always be right or always be wrong. So I say it's a 50-50 margin at its best. Appetizer of the human experience. Look, but that makes it sound like I'm a cannibal. No,
But is it called progression if a cannibal uses a fork?
Well, let's ask Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter? No, I'm not gonna do it. I don't know. But if they use some form of utensil, then maybe they're getting up in the world. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to think about a cannibal going that far though, because then that means they've gotten out of the zoo, and you don't want that. You imagine it's no longer like. Was it in like the LA or California area? They're high and strung on drugs. No, it's cannibalism now. And you're like, ooh, that might need to be stopped.
See, I think I'm kind of A-okay with that being the case, though, because I've been playing Resident Evil since I was like 4 years old, and I would love to put my skills to the test.
Have you played the remakes yet?
Oh, homie, you might not want to get me started on that. I fucking hate them. I hate them.
Well, they've only remade up to 4.
They've remade 2, 3, and 4, and 2 is fine. Two isn't bad. It's just 2 is not as good as the original, in terms of, and I can give a diatribe as to why. 3 is flat awful. I think Resident Evil 3 Remake is one of the worst video games literally ever made. And then Resident Evil 4 is, as a game, it is fine. In fact, as a game, it's even good. As a remake of Resident Evil 4, it is fucking dog shit. And people are so blinded by good graphics and recency bias, they cannot actually accept it.
Well, and I thought they had made the first remade the first one. So
well, they remade the first one as well, but they remade the first one literally only 6 years after the original first one, and it is still almost identical to the original, just with better graphics and then a few updates. Like, it is not the remakes of 3, 4, and 2, 3, and 4 are effectively completely different games. The remake of 1 is literally a faithful remake, so I don't really count that one in the conversation when people are talking about remakes because.
Nice. Oh no, sorry.
Go ahead. No. Sorry, I was reading through those as well. But anyway, like the first Resident Evil remake is the gold standard for how a remake should be done. I think that if you look at the remake of Resident Evil from 2002, look at Spyro Reignited Trilogy, those are the gold standards for remakes.
Yeah, and they brought
Vexy in the house. How you doing, girly?
Yeah, Vex is in the house. Hey, and Vex has been on here before as well. She says RE3 was awesome. What do you mean?
No, she's trying to trigger me. I'm not going to take the bait from this fucking darky.
She's a good egg, but she is very opinionated, as one would say.
I love Vex. She is one of my favorite people on the fucking internet, but she's also a fucking cunt. So
she's a feisty spirit, is all I'll say. Paradise, you always saying you like anime. I say, yeah, well,
yes, I have seen almost 400 anime.
Jeez Louise.
I am a weeb. I'm a weeb at heart.
The Spyro and Crash Bandicoot remakes are amazing. Oh, wow. Yeah,
the Crash Bandicoot remakes are also amazing. I didn't grow up playing the OGs, so I can't speak to how good they are as remakes.
Vex is starting to fight again. No.
It's a really good thing you don't have a heart for me to fucking stab you in. You fucking Sri Lankan skank. Like,
she's Canadian though. You kind of have to call her the Canadian part.
No, I'm gonna call her ancestry is Sri Lankan, and it's more fun to say.
It's easier now to make fun of Canada because their prime minister is a douche, basically. So
I think people forget it's always been really easy to make fun of Canada. South Park was doing it before they had this Canadian douchebag. Like,
no, in Rumble Studios, it doesn't show up as what you're portraying as. So at least in chat. So it's the thing they haven't gotten down right yet. But oh yeah, South Park. Now that's a deep hole in itself. Because I make AMVs here on Rumble. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does AMVs too.
I love a good AMV, homie. Absolutely. I can tell you off the top of my head some of my favorite AMVs, man. YouTube was a game changer because in 2006 there was an AMV to every Naruto fight from every Linkin Park song. Like,
right.
Oh, dude, it was a golden time to be a fucking weeb.
Unfortunately, Vex, you may have to him, but to me, it's kind of difficult. So.
Now Vex knows just what buttons to fucking press, and she will find like what I call the angry G spot.
That's a good one. Canada disliked way before Trudeau. Canadians were too stupid. Hey, as I heard, the ladies voted for Justin Trudeau, so blame the women. All right, there you go. Blame the women. But yeah, I've watched some anime, not very much anymore. I'm watching the remaking of the Spice and Wolf one because that's supposed to be more done to the light novel, I believe. But yeah, I have a few manga pieces, but not all of them are for the faint of heart, so to speak. So, but yeah, I wouldn't really consider myself as such, but I am a connoisseur of the medium itself because there's a lot of
titties.
Part of that, but part of it is the history of it, right? Because people forget that of course there's a Ken Nakamatsu who's in the Diet, who's also trying to lead the charge of trying to keep country from censoring work, because that's what they rely on is the free expression, all that stuff. Where in Japan they don't really have freedom of speech, but they do have freedom of expression. In the United States, we have freedom of speech, but freedom of expression is sort of a more of a non-go thing in a way, because there are a lot more things they can do over there than we can. But
Japan actually, because Steven Crowder has this stupid bit where he talks about how, America is the only country with free speech. Well, I've read the Japanese Constitution, and no, the Japanese also have freedom of speech. Their one rule is that you cannot, I believe you cannot make disparaging or threats against the emperor or so. Basically, they do have a limit, but we have a limit here in America as well. You can't
right.
call for violence, things like that. But yes,
Right.
they actually have freedom of speech outlined in the Japanese Constitution. I don't know any other countries that do. Only America and Japan. I'm not saying they don't exist. I just don't know. But the idea that America is the only country with freedom of speech is honestly bullshit, because we have at least one other, being Japan. Yeah.
Well, that, and we kind of wrote it after the World War.
That's true. We kind of babied Japan. We were like, hey, you guys don't get to be a country. You get to be America too, Electric Boogaloo, until we say otherwise.
Yeah, and but yeah, so it's sort of like you see these people. I don't know, of course, you have some of the old stuff like Osamu Tezuka and his works that kind of inspired so many others beyond that point. Of course, that's why he's called the the god of manga, basically. But it's always interesting to see what they can come up with, because right now I believe One Piece is the most sold manga series in the world right now.
No, so you're close. Assuming this information is still accurate, I could be, it could have been updated since then. One Piece is the most sold in Japan. Dragon Ball still technically has the worldwide record. And One Piece is number 2. But again, that could have been beaten by this point. But last I checked, One Piece was worldwide number 2, but in Japan number 1. And then, that's been updated. I'd like to know. Now, as a franchise, monetarily, Dragon Ball is still number 1, and it trumps One Piece by almost $10 billion.
Right. I think this is I don't know if We Buy Books is any special. Okay.
But One Piece will probably overtake Dragon Ball eventually, just because it also since it's so much longer, it has more volumes to be sold.
It's gotta be some. That's 2020. That's not even good enough. So it's gotta be something that's close to. This 2022. I think that's about as close as we'll get, though. Best-selling manga. What was it? Here we go. Oh, as of September 2019, One Piece. Okay, so what is the?
Okay, yeah, One Piece very well may have overtaken. Fair enough.
Was in the world, having sold 454 million copies globally. That's a lot by any standard. Any mangaka would be grateful to have even half of that, or even like a 1/4 of it, because that's a lot. But I'm trying to find at least something that's 2023. Here we go. That should be at least close enough.
This is literally of the year of 2023, which, to be fair, is a good year.
Yeah, but it's getting close as possible to 2024, because we were looking at like past few years. So that's 10, 9. Oh, My Hero Academia, 3.5 million. Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this article is just of the year 2023. This doesn't factor in the
okay, so it's not okay.
Yeah, it was the best-selling manga of 2023, not as of 2023.
Best manga of all time. Okay, so this is probably as close as we'll get. Okay, so yes. One Piece.
Yeah, One Piece beat it out. Good on you, Oda. Congratulations, you beat out the master, Toriyama.
Well, and that he can't make anymore either. So, okay.
Don't remind me.
I'm trying to. There was a list, but I know it's Wikipedia. But no, there we go. List of best selling. Okay, so no, screw you. So it does have the list as of this moment, and then Golgo 13, which is an oldie in itself.
The Golgo 13 is excellent, by the way.
Yeah, 1968. Can you imagine having a manga staying in you know,
In circulation, yeah.
circulation since 19. That's the crazy part. And then of course, Case Closed. This is probably on par with the same amount of episodes as One Piece because they have 1,000 episodes this
Actually,
series.
more. Case Closed has more episodes than One Piece.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I didn't know that, but it's been a while anyway. And of course, you have Dragon Ball right here.
See, and like then you got Dragon Ball, Doraemon, and those it's One Piece, Go 13, Case Closed. Since those are all ongoing, obviously they're going to end up having sold more just because they are still going.
Yeah.
As opposed to things like Dragon Ball or Doraemon or Naruto, which did eventually end. So they are going to be bought less frequently because there's not
See
new
that?
monthly. Oh, catch you later, sexy Vexy. Also, go fuck yourself. I just got back from seeing it a second time.
Boy, that's a fiery hate.
I love Vex. I love Vex.
But yeah, it's just yeah, it's but then again, you never know because sometimes the data is not calculated correctly or whatever. But yeah, it's a lot of different ones. Queso was so fresh to me when I was really changed. Well, I've never read it, so I wouldn't know. I've only read certain manga series, and I'm not sure I can remember most of them. I could show you what manga I have, but I don't know if you'll appreciate it or not. But because you probably have more volumes than I do, but I don't.
No, I actually don't read a lot of manga because I like to multitask. I don't like to just sit and do one thing. It's like I listen to audiobooks. I don't really read. I watch anime because I want to be able to do dishes or fold laundry or do stuff with my hands and whatnot. And if you're
Mm,
reading, that really limits the ability of multitasking you can do. So
mm,
there are a few manga I've read all the way through. I've read all the way through Naruto. I've read all the way through Dragon Ball.
mm.
But I'm much more of an anime viewer than a manga guy just because it gives me the ability to multitask.
So then, if you're okay, so if you're on that portion, what are your thoughts on the debate that's been going on for a while? Is the localization factor? Because that's
Oh, I've
been
got some massive thoughts. So localization has been a problem
yeah,
for decades. Localization has been a problem since anime started coming to the West. However, back in the day, localization was a problem for a different reason than it was now.
yes,
Back then, they're like, hey, there's such a difference in the philosophies and morals of the East and the West. We need to Americanize or Westernize these localizations. That way they appeal to a Western audience. And then around the early 2010s, late aughts, like 2007 to 2012 ish, they
mm,
realized, hey, the Americans love the actual Japanese stuff. We don't need to change shit. And they stopped and they started doing as close to possible localization as they could. And
mm,
then Gamergate happened. The modern day version of the woke Marxist stuff started to take over, and you had ideologues become localizers, and they started changing things for agenda-driven purposes. Now, in my opinion, any change, like whether it be for the original, whether the way it was done originally for a Western audience or nowadays for the quote-unquote modern audience, either one's
right,
bad. Unless I'm feeling nostalgic, I don't fucking watch 90s Dragon Ball Z. I watch it in Japanese with English subtitles.
mm,
That being said, I think that in every case, anime, games, whatever, your localization should be done with as close to the original source material accuracy as possible. I
right,
took 2 years of Japanese. I was never fluent, but I was very conversational.
mm,
I got to the point where I could watch anime without subtitles and I could get the gist of what was going on. I couldn't follow it perfectly, but I could understand enough to mostly get it. And it was just one of those things that if you truly love and care about this medium, then
mm.
you should want, whether you agree or disagree with the author's work and intent, you should want that to be showcased.
Right, yeah, because you wouldn't do it for stuff over here, right? You wouldn't like it's sort of like an editor, right? You wouldn't change someone's work for the worst of it
Well,
because you
they're doing
wanted
that now, but
well in a sense, but
in theory, you shouldn't. Yes.
yes, in the theory you shouldn't, but it becomes and same with like the studios, right? Like Funimation was so bad for it at a point, and part of it was the people within it, but another portion of that has been Seven Seas. Seven Seas has been notorious for a big chunk of the bad localization, and don't ask me why that is. It's just they hire the bad people, and it's not a people don't go into it to make a lot of money. There's not a lot of money to be made there, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's just it's a it's a hard thing to hear about such thing when you have a manga that is so distraught with just bad localization that they have to go to the original mangaka, right, on Twitter X, complain to that person, and they have to tell you, you need to go to this company right here, the Japanese company, of course, and you need
Which
to
we're
let them know.
seeing a lot more of nowadays, which is it's great that authors are pushing back on it, but it's bad that we've gotten to this part in the first place. So
Right.
maybe we're seeing some course correction. That's why I believe in AI translations. I'm all in on AI translations because they are doing it with a 98% success rate. Then they're still having humans go over it and make sure it was
Yeah.
done successful. That's how we know there's that 2%
Mhm.
margin of error. And then the humans are fixing that. Bro, if we can get manga translated by AI and it be 98% correct, and they're doing it in a much more time efficient way that it gets these books translated and into these other countries faster and easier, then
Mhm.
yeah, why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah, I mean, and also it needs to be the point where the mangakas themselves don't need to go through a publisher. They can just self-publish, and it won't cost them so much because they can self-publish, but it's a lot of money to do so for just on a personal level. But before we go any further, it is the top of the hour, and at the top of the hour of every hour, I set aside some time for us to promote ourselves because obviously, it's also a timekeeper, but it's also a way of just kind of giving back to both ends, so that we're, not just go, because usually content creators go from beginning maybe, and then at the end they'll do it. But I just do it every hour because it's just sort of a reminder. So I did put some of your stuff in the description below, but if you want to sell yourself, as the kids would say, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do put almost all my videos on Rumble. The same day they come out on YouTube. Ever
Mhm.
since I switched to the 3 video a day model last week, it's been harder to upload all of them to Rumble just because it's a much larger undertaking. So it's something that some of the videos are missing. So
Mhm.
I respect and admire Rumble, and I want my Rumble to take off and more people take Rumble seriously. That being said, the
Mhm.
chunk of what I do in terms of the money I make or views I get or whatnot do come from YouTube. So if
Yeah.
you would appreciate dropping the subscribe on there.
Mhm.
Words of Paradise, it's the same on Rumble as it is on YouTube.
Mhm.
Words of Paradise. Then on X, I am Bolt the Word because Words of Paradise was taken. Plus, if you get the reference to my name, Bolt the Word is just a fun, cheeky little joke that only 2 people have ever gotten. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always open for conversation. I love having conversation. So
Mhm.
you by all means just find me drunk on X one night. We can have a ball.
Just find me when I'm drunk. We'll have more fun. Um,
I don't drink very often, but when I do, I get addicted to X.
yeah, well, X lends itself to be addicted to. Again, that's social media. But his stuff is down in the description below. I did put both your YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter X. I'm
Thank you.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you might have more, but I just put the ones that you're probably more what you're wanting people to go
No, those
to.
are really the only things I use is Twitter, Rumble, and X.
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube, Rumble, and X, and then I mean, I have one other piece of social media that I use, but I don't. Oh, and Instagram, I guess. Yeah, I don't update my Instagram very often, maybe once a
Yeah.
week or so. But you can find me at Instagram. Yeah, Words of Paradise, I think is what. No, it's Words of Paradise _ Leon.
Ah.
And then if you become a member of the channel, which is $4.99 a month, you can join the Discord, and our Discord is a blast.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just fun.
Oh, here you go.
Oh yeah, I saw that and I followed you back, Nexus.
There you go. Yep.
Thank you, by the way.
Nexus is pretty cool, dude. Well, his name is Fatal Investing, but that's the thing with
Yeah, it was like Fatal Investments, something like X. Yep, I followed you back the moment you followed me. I appreciate it, brother.
Okay. And for my end of things, so look, guys, if you wouldn't mind, please like, share, and follow the show, or share, comment, and follow, because it helps me and be able to reach more people and have more people on, like Words of Paradise, like Fatal Nexus, like Bill Dozer, and so many more. Because a chunk of the people in chat are people that have been on here. And also, if you'd like the same opportunity to come on like these people, go down to the description below, find my link tree, go to those links, and find me at those places. I'm on Twitter, X, YouTube, Rumble, all this stuff. If you don't want to do that, just leave a comment on either YouTube or Rumble, and we get started, because I'm above 80 plus people, and I'm going to go for more. So because there's so many more people and so little time to do it. So thank you all so much. And again, the engagement factor helps bring on more people. It's the what is it, the cash 22 sort of thing, right? The circle feeds itself basically. But
The
thank you guys.
Ouroboros.
The Ouroboros eats its tail, and I don't know if I consider that eating my tail, so to speak.
Fair enough.
It just helps in being seen more to have more people on. And it's funny enough is that, again, it's that doorway that leads to another door. Like there's one person that leads to more people behind it, and so on and so forth. Like again, I had Jack Tarlad that led to Tomby, that led to Smoo, that led to I'm trying to blank on a name. I've had Tom Connors on from Midnight's Edge, a thing I've followed for a long time. I've had so many different people, mostly content creators. I've had a few that weren't content creators, but it is what it is. The door is open for many other people to come on. I'm just not, the troll people that don't want to have a conversation. They can find somebody else, or find someone who wants to argue with them wherever they get their entertainment from. So, but that's just me. I'm trying to share this with as many people as possible, just because you see our world as it is, and you don't really see. You see a lot of people come up with a solution, but they kind of get lost in the yelling at each other noise and all this stuff, and it becomes a headache.
I'm good friends with the editor in chief of Bounding into Comics, for example. Shout out Spence. He's a beautiful, amazing human being, and he and I got into a fucking shouting match on my stream last week. And then by the end of it, we were like, by the way, no, we're chill. We would still play video games with each other after this, the whole nine. Like the idea is, I've been in multiple. You used to go to comic shops and you would fucking argue with people. Goku versus Superman. And you would get into fucking shouting matches, and then you go to McDonald's afterwards as buddies. Like it was fine.
Yeah.
I'm a-okay with getting into these arguments, these debates, and like legitimately going at each other's throats, as long as you both have the mental wherewithal that afterwards you're chill and it was just for that discussion, and then you can continue being fucking friends and real human beings after that discussion is over.
Yeah, well, and some people can't do that though, because there's that essence of being that they have to be right. I came here for my position, and I'm going to prove that I'm right. And some people can't get past that point. That's the internal bias that pretty much all of us have. But it's what you're willing to come down to the ground floor for, and just learn, and just hear, and just see, because at the end of the day, it's not going to last. I'm sorry to tell you, you're going to be 6 feet under, dust in the wind someday, and I don't think those bickering matches are going to be any use when you can't do them anymore. So
see, I push back. I reject that, because yes, there is the inevitable death that everybody's going to die eventually. However, you leave behind a legacy if you do things right in your life, and who knows how much your legacy is influenced by those debates and those shouting matches and things that formed you as a person.
Right, but that's a 50-50 thing, right? Because as we were just seeing,
I'll flip that coin.
Oh, well, yeah, well, 50-50. But as we're just seeing, they're taking down statues of past people, and they're doing all this stuff. So legacy is a very intermediate term, where it's not a forever thing, because it's eventually
a legacy isn't forever. It just does go on after you've passed. And people are taking down statues and whatnot, but then you got other people who are outraged about it, which means the legacy does still matter to those that are outraged, because if people didn't care, there would be no outrage. So even with the statues coming down, it doesn't erase the legacy, because that shows there's people still willing to fight for it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it depends on who's the winner of that battle there.
Right.
It feels like at some point there's not a resolution very well, or it just feels like it's going to be in limbo, as one would say. But that's just a personal perspective. But it's why you have these conversations. You can get onto that other side and see, oh, so it's like that, huh? Not like that, but something similar. But yeah, my gosh, it's a weird thing when you start doing the content creation factor, and you don't know what to do with things. You kind of use what's out there, whatever, and you just kind of, what was it like? I think some people watch YouTube videos how to be a content creator. I mean, yeah. You kind of.
I mean, I did that when I first started. Like, I watched YouTubes. I tried to understand the algorithm. I tried to understand the best ideas for streaming and video content creation and whatnot. And like I treated it. So my goal is within 5 years of doing this, I would like to be doing it full time. And to do that, I need to maximize the efficiency. And like what person wouldn't want to learn the tips and tricks and tools of the trade and stuff like that. So it would be no different than, going in to be a mechanic and ignoring any books on how to work on cars. Like, no, you should probably, if you care about it and want to make it your profession, you would want to do the research. And so yeah, I've watched plenty of videos on how to be a content creator. And while I'm by no means the best or anything like that, I also feel like the strides I've made in just a year and a half are pretty fucking decent.
Yeah, no, and that's understandable too. It's just, for me, chasing the algorithm, while understandable, it can be seen as a disadvantage, because then what are you creating your content for, right? If you're just creating content to chase the dragon's tail, then you end up being you end up feeding that algorithm, which turns out all this other stuff that just keeps have people chasing it.
Well, there's a middle ground. Like, for example, there might be a story that I know would blow up, but I won't cover it because it's not something that I'm interested in. So when I say chasing the algorithm, it's more about like, hey, there's a flow to how you do titles. There's a flow to how you do hashtags. Now, the way you make your videos, or the stuff that you cover in your videos or whatnot, by all means, you want that to be as authentic to you as possible. But if I just like, if I made a video on The Legend of Zelda and I just titled it Zelda of Ocarina of Time Secrets, that's not going to do as well as something like 10 secrets to Zelda that you've probably never heard of, and capitalize like secrets and never heard of. And like, those are, regardless of how my video would be the same either way in terms of the content of the video, but like how you title it, is what's going to generate the traction. So it is very important to know the logistics of the algorithm, no matter what your content is about, just because at the end of the day, if you're on the internet, your goal is to be heard or seen or have some sort of audience. And I'm under no delusions about that. Like, yeah, I want folks tuning in to me and listening to me. Again, they don't have to agree with me. They don't have to ever become followers or part of the community or whatnot. But I definitely do want to be seen. I feel like anyone that's got a YouTube channel wants to be seen. They're not making these videos for kicks. So, I think acknowledging that is important to your own soul. That way you're not trying to delude yourself.
Well, I mean, that's what the name of YouTube is. YouTube. Right.
And it used to have the tagline "broadcast yourself," and when YouTube dropped that, I feel like that was a death knell for authenticity on YouTube, because it was no longer about broadcasting yourself. It was about broadcasting whatever idea you thought could make you a quick buck or whatever. And like, I hate that mentality. And so I'm very much, again, I can only speak to me personally, but the shit that I don't play a character on YouTube. The shit that I say and do on my channels and whatnot is 100% what you'd get from me if you met me at a fucking Barnes and Noble.
What do you do at a Barnes and Noble? No. No, and that's great, because again, it's like what happened with, what was it? It was what happened with Twitter X a long time ago. Is once they started adding monetization, you saw a lot of clickbait engagement things, and it was sort of just,
that's actually what we're doing for my birthday celebration tomorrow. Is I've bookmarked a bunch of dumbass engagement bait posts, and I'm just gonna get a big panel together, and we're just gonna answer the questions on these engagement bait posts.
That's gonna be a lot of OF posts.
Oh God, no! I've picked some good fun ones. I've kept the pouring off because this will be a fucking live stream. But
well, they don't show anything with some of them, and just like they say the same thing over and over again. I'm just like, really?
Yeah, no. Twitter is like, man, I go to Twitter to be a troll. Like, I'll link my videos maybe a couple times a week and be like, hey, my video is on this, come watch it or whatever. But mostly I'm on Twitter just to fucking troll, and it's so much fun. And for a long time, I got no traction on Twitter. And I couldn't care less. I wasn't trying to. I was just like, I'm just gonna come here, talk some shit, then boogie out. And then out of the blue, over the last 3 months, I went from like 300 followers over the course of a year, which is nothing, to I'm like 20 away from 1,000 or whatever. For whatever reason, I just started to get a lot more traction and followers on Twitter, and I don't know why, because I'm like, I'm not doing anything different, but all right, fine, I'll take it. Like, I won't complain.
Right. And well, I think part of that is the bots, because sometimes you get followed by bots, so there is that portion of it. But no,
that's how you and I met with X, is me brazenly being an idiot to you, thinking you were saying something you weren't, and I came off like a fucking douche. So
Oh yeah, I can't even remember what it was about. I was like,
I remember it had to do with Lord of the Rings, and I remember it had to do with the concept of elves. I don't remember what was, but basically, I got too entrenched in the culture war because it happens to the best of us. Like I'll take the L on this one, absolutely. And I thought that you were spouting off some woke, pretentious defense of the Rings of Power, and I was like, I'm gonna come in and school this motherfucker. And and you called me out on it. You're like, yo, why are you being aggressive? I just said or did X, Y, Z. I was like, oh fuck, I got lost in that culture war sauce. The thing I tell people never to do. Damn it.
well, and there's a hey Leonard. There's a great
Yo,
example.
Leonard Dostal, how you doing, brother, man? Appreciate you for showing up, homie.
Nice. There's a great example. There was a Key and Peele skit a while back where it was, so they had a conversation over text, and one side was very chill and relaxed, and the other side was kind of uppity and all that stuff. And they came to the point where uh, Key had come, they had met, they were going to meet at a bar, and Jordan had, like, was getting the drinks and stuff, and Key had come in with a bat filled with nails. I'm sort of like, well, that's how social media is, because you can't see the other person's face or how they sound. So you're
like
assuming
70% of conversation is tone, body language. That's why I was trying so hard to get my camera working, because there's so much that I'm saying that I'm wondering if it'll get lost in translation by only having an avatar up. And
no, we could hear you though. That's the difference. Is if we could hear you.
Yeah. I'm one of those individuals, and maybe it's because I'm fucking retarded. I need to look at people's faces. Like I don't. I want to see your facial features. I want to see your eyes are moving, things to that effect, because that helps even more. Now hearing is definitely better than text.
Yeah.
But if you could have full visual, that adds another layer as well.
Yeah. Again, that's the issue with social media, is that people will take what they or Fatal says, or a missing comma.
Exactly.
That is true. You could have said I peed in a toilet, and it could have said I peed, comma, in a toilet or something like that. I don't think that would have worked. But yeah, there's just that whole spiel, and you have a lot of people talking past each other as well on it because of partly that. And that's where I think that danger lies, is where you want to have a conversation over the text part only, but you don't really have much of a conversation if someone's trying to be like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. And this whole spiel of it just turns into an angry message. Like, what?
And usually I agree. In theory, I agree with you. However, sometimes there are motherfuckers that are flat wrong. Like people on Twitter will say in earnest, I believe the sky is green. That's an extreme example, but no, you are objectively wrong. I am not going to entertain why you think you're right. Maybe you're colorblind, and fair enough, the sky is green to you, but the sky isn't green, and we need to be able to understand basic facts. So not everything is subjective. There is hard objective right and wrong, and people need to accept that, even if they disagree or don't like the fact that it is that way. Yeah, Fatal Nexus, I almost went with that aspect. I almost said I almost brought up rounder or flat earthers, because people that believe the earth is flat are fucking wrong. Now, I'm not going to bother arguing with a flat earther, because they're never going to accept the earth is round. But which is why I didn't go with that example. But at the end of the day, people can be wrong about stuff, and it's not up to interpretation. And I feel like it is in our best interest to try and cultivate a society that accepts and understands there is objective truths.
Yeah. Well, and it's not a perfect sphere either, too. It's a bit spherical.
That's true. It's more of an egg. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a. I think it's a. Oh, was it? I think it's more of a tetrahedron. He's bringing up the old Terrence Terrence Weinstein bit right there, which was a funny thing too, because I saw that podcast with Joe Rogan when he had on Terrence Howard and
Terrence Howard, yeah,
and Eric Weinstein. Now the first part, when he just had Terrence Howard on, it was just like, this is out of control. But when he had Eric Weinstein on,
I haven't seen it since he brought Eric Weinstein on. That's an episode I missed. I haven't watched it, and I need to, because I'm so excited to see how Weinstein handles that situation.
It's very interesting, and it was 4 hours. Don't get me wrong; it's a 4-hour podcast, but it's probably, I think it's sitting at like a little over 6 million views at this point, and of course he's uploading his stuff, back onto Joe Rogan is
Yeah,
uploading,
his backlog. Yeah.
yeah, his backlog. But the thing of it is, right, it was when he just had Terrence on for that first portion. He never really pushed back on things. He was sort of like this, or this. But then when he had Eric on, there were things that Eric pushed back on. And I won't give it too far away, but there were things that Eric pushed back on and he at one point points to Joe and said, "Look, I blame you too because you didn't really push on all this stuff and all that jazz." But it really is a very interesting 4-hour podcast where you do sort of have Terrence getting told, "Look, you can't keep doing this. You can't keep acting like this." And
It
that.
is very important for a host of a show to push back and be like, if you invited me on, let's say I was an anti-Semite. Now I'm not, but let's hypothetically say I was, and I came on your show and started being like death to the Jews. I would expect you as the host of the show to be like, "Yo, Leon, what the fuck are you on about?" And you might say, "Explain why you think the Jews are the root of all evil," and I could give you an explanation. If that explanation is retarded dog shit, you'd be like, "Well, first of all, here's reasons you're wrong, A through sideways 8." So I love Joe Rogan, but yes, every now and again, it seems like he doesn't push when he should, and that is again, I'm an avid viewer. I think that 9 out of 10 times he does push back, but now and again, I don't know if it's a fear of the guest walking out or if he's just gone soft or whatever. But I was like, "Oh, Joey, come on now, come on, push back a bit, bud."
Right, or maybe because he wants, partly maybe because he wants the views and stuff from it. I don't know. The dude got like 200 million from Spotify, so I don't think he's worrying about too much about it. But
right.
Yeah, when someone gets a $200 million deal from a company, like, yeah, he doesn't really have much to worry about, and he still works for what is it,
UFC, and still
UFC,
does
yeah,
his stand-up comedy, and now he owns his own
yeah,
comedy club.
yeah,
Joe Rogan, pretty fucking set. Like, it's just more one of those, like, he started his podcast because he has a hunger for conversation that, and I respect and appreciate the shit out of that. That being
right.
said, not all conversations are worth entertaining, which is why I went with something as extreme as anti-Semitism. That's not a conversation that is worth. I guess that's a conversation that's worth entertaining as long as you're going to have the mental and emotional wherewithal to push back on it. But
Right. Well, and explore into the
psychology of why someone would believe that.
Yeah. You'd be like going into the maze of why not getting lost yourself, because then that becomes an issue in its own right. But when you can say, okay, so why do you feel that way? Why do you, I'd say you're an idiot first off, and then I'd say, okay, so but why do you think that way, or why do you believe that way?
I'm gonna be real now. Again, I want to clarify: I am not anti-Semitic. I love the Jews. I do think there's a hat to nose. I think there's a hat to nose ratio, and I think that's they don't do that well. However, point I'm trying to make, I have heard some convincing arguments for anti-Semitism. Now, I don't agree with them, but I've heard some very well-spoken, intelligent people that can make a case for it. I'm like, damn, I can get why people would believe this. I think it's fucked up, but at least you made it make sense, which is more than Joe Blow Farmer down the road screaming about the blacks on his porch. And like, hey, at least you were more well-reasoned than that dude who's just fucking waving a shotgun in the air at the ether. Like,
yeah. Oh, that's too funny. He come back again. Get those people out of here.
I guess I would rather listen to an intelligent person be racist because they are actually more dangerous because they can convince people. And I would like to be like, okay, if he can make a compelling argument towards me, somebody who disavows this ideology, what can he do to people that don't have a sense of self and don't have a sense of understanding the world? And like, it's very, very just straight up interesting. Hey, White Bear in the house. He came up at the right fucking time.
White Bear's been on too as well, dude.
Oh, White Bear's a goddamn sweetheart. I love that motherfucker.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was on here, or I forgot he was on Rumble. Sorry. But yeah, but then again, intelligence itself is such a subjective thing too, because the individual can decide who they think is intelligent or not, because they'll see someone says something.
No, that gets back to what we were talking about earlier. Intelligence is not subjective. Individuals' perceptions of intelligence is.
Right.
The intelligence itself isn't.
Right. Well, yes, the perspective of what one sees as intelligence is the is the misnomer. It's where you
Right.
get lost and all that stuff. But if you just want to talk about the word intelligence, that's a bit different. Oh, look at that brotherly love right there.
You can't
Like
see it because my camera is acting like a piece of shit, but I'm giving you like the hands together to make a heart.
you could have just typed a heart into the chat too.
Oh yeah, I guess I could have done that. Bro, I fucking hate typing when I'm on stream. When I'm on stream, I want to dedicate my mental capacities to the people I'm streaming with. Now
Yeah.
if it's like Saturday Night Hypnosis and it's a big panel show and there's like 9 people and we're all talking, all right, I can take a break from paying attention for a set to respond to the chat. But if it's like
Yeah.
one-on-one like this, I want to devote my attention. I want to try and split my attention between answering the chat and answering you, but not taking the time to type into the chat because that just takes too much brain power to do. I'd rather just be like, yeah, I love you too, White Bear. I read that, then redirect right back to you.
But then that kind of goes against earlier of you saying multitasking. If you can't multitask like that, then what's
Well, so I love multitasking. By the same token, though, I don't know about you. I have this problem where if I'm talking and typing, I will end up typing what's coming out of my mouth as opposed to it's again. I love multitasking. I'm ADHD, but I'm also OCD and dyslexic. Like I got a lot going up in the fucking gray matter. Okay.
you're like you're typing this. I was like, wait, are you typing out what you're saying? It's like, crap.
Yeah, dude, you and I could be talking like White Bear could be like, love you too, and I could be talking about furniture, and I'd be like, love couches. Like,
why wouldn't you love couches though? Come on.
I'm more of a love seat kind of guy, or I want sectionals. I hate little rinky dink 3-person seater fucking couches. Either give me a love seat where I can just sit there with a girly and her and I do some Netflix and chill, or give me a sectional so I can invite 6 dudes over to play Smash Bros and we beat the shit out of each other.
Oh yeah, Fight Club is starting to sound like a thing that's going to happen now. Fight Club. No, guys, look, I'm not.
Oh, thank you, White Bear, man. I appreciate that, brother.
He calls you a boss, but then yeah, and that's pretty awesome. You put in the work and you hope that it works out, or you just put it in, and you just enjoy the ride. Because I really, Leon 24, F your couch.
F your couch. Yeah, I don't like the just hope it works out mentality because I'm a firm believer in that if you're going to do something, you need to put the blood, sweat, and tears in. Now that does not immediately guarantee that it's going to pay off. However, that's a whole lot more beneficial than hopes and dreams. Like I've seen some content creators that be like, "Oh man," that told me. And granted, I'm a nothing. I'm a no one. I got fucking 4,000 subscribers. That is a nobody in the grand scheme of YouTube. But I've been doing this for a year and a half, and I've gotten 4,000. That's relatively decent. And I've had people hit me up, be like, I wish that I could get have the subscribers as you." And I'm like, man, I've watched your content. You're not putting in any effort. Like your camera quality is shit. Your audio quality is shit. Like you think that you can just turn on a camera and talk and people will respond, and maybe some will. However, human beings have an inherent want for quality content. I'm not going to claim my content's quality, not by a long shot, but compared to his, it absolutely was. And like it's the same reason people are rejecting modern movies that go too all in on CGI, for example, or bad writing, because the human brain can understand what quality is. And so if they don't, it's just innate. And so if you've been doing YouTube for 4 years and you're still stuck at 700 subscribers, maybe the problem's not the audience, maybe it's you. And I wish that some people would have the mental capacity to want to change themselves and improve what they're working on. Dude, read some books, invest in a better camera. Like if you want to take this seriously, and you're uploading every week, I can tell you take it seriously enough to stay on schedule. But if you're not doing anything else, I get it, man. Camera's expensive. Mics are expensive. But if that's what you want, you're gonna have to put the work in and not bitch and moan when you're not getting more than 2 viewers on your fucking live streams. Like it's an effort game.
Right. Well, and part of it is just being consistent as well. That plays into the factor too. But for me, it's just, look, I didn't expect to be here. I didn't expect to be at this point, and I'm just enjoying not only having people on, but also getting to share that with other people who will see that and say, "Oh, that person." I can agree with something that they said or whatever, in that similar fashion. But for me, it's like, I'm not $1,000 camera, $1,000 microphone, all this.
Oh, dude, same. My mic was fucking $70 and my camera was either 90 or 120, whatever it is. But like, and that's it. And frankly, I didn't even start with the $70 mic. I started with the mic that was on my webcam, and that
Right.
mic sucked. And then eventually, about 2 months in, I'm like, God, I need to improve my audio quality. This is awful. And so I bit the bullet, bought the $70 mic, and which is still cheap for a mic, mind you, but it was better than
Right,
what I
yeah.
had, and it was a slow upgrade. Now maybe sometime in the future I'll get a nice, couple $100 mic, and they'll improve it that much more. Like, but you have to improve as you go. You can't just stay stagnant.
Well, yeah, you can't just, you can't just stay unwitty. I guess some things needed to change, but it's sorry, it's depending on how and the way you want to do it. Like for me, I I have people on. I ask other people to come on if they want to. I've been shot down before as well. I can't control any other person's mind, but I also make the shorts from those streams. I also try to use different tools for making the shorts, because honestly, I can't be like the people who just go. I'm not gonna hire an editor or whatever, because I don't have that kind of money, to be honest. But
Yeah, I don't either. Thankfully, my videos don't need a lot of editing. Now, will there come a time in the future where I'm making that sort of money on YouTube and my videos can be spruced up enough with some editing? Absolutely. And maybe I will hire an editor when that time comes. That being said, I don't want to. It's just like running a business. You don't want to go outside your means, but you want to still have the quality enough to bring in the customers. And then as your business expands, as you get more revenue or whatnot, you bring on additional help. Maybe you open a second franchise, or maybe you extend your hours from, to be open 3 or 4 hours later, which means you hire 2 or more people to work the night shift or whatever it is. Like, as you grow, you need to be expanding your operations on a technical back end level that nobody will ever see or appreciate, because that's part of running a business. And anything that makes you money is a business. So whether it be YouTube, whether it be opening a fucking lemonade stand, you want to do it efficiently.
right, no, and that's quite understandable too. I'm just enjoying using that cap X. Oh, they're talking about something else. No, and I enjoy doing the process, because I enjoy doing the. Oh, thank you, J Delete. Thank you for that.
Hey, how you doing, Jay Delete? Appreciate you, brother, man. Thanks for the raid.
Yeah. Do you know how to use the raid feature on Rumble yet?
So I do all my streams from StreamYard, and I stream to Rumble X and YouTube at the same time. So I've never raided somebody, because there's not a raid option from StreamYard. And I feel like a dick but also there's never really anyone to, because when I stream, there's a lot of people in the sphere that I hang out with that have they've got their dedicated stream times. They do it at the same time, like whether it be every day, every week, whatever. And I put myself in a time slot to where I knew I would not be overlapping with them, because since we share viewers, I don't want to steal viewers from them or anything to that effect. And that's not me trying to be cocky, be like, oh, they'd leave them to come watch me. That's not what I mean. The point is, there's clearly a shared audience amongst me and the community that I roll with. And again, for efficiency's sake, I don't want to stream over them or anything to that effect. So when I'm streaming, well, there really isn't anyone to raid, because I made sure to set my time zones for when I stream when no one else is streaming.
Right. No, and that's understandable. I mean, you've made a bunch of friends on here and all that stuff, and you don't want to interfere with that. I just I don't know. That's a personal thing. That's not a all matter of content.
Yeah, if I ever do a stream and I see, oh, my homie is streaming, and when I'm done, oh, by all means, I will absolutely. I would just more direct my buddies, hey, or my viewers, community, whatever it may be. All right, hey, stream is coming to an end. Make sure you hit those last subscribes. Make sure you hit those last, likes, whatever. And we're gonna all go over to so and so's channel. And if someone, I will absolutely do that. I've just never used, whether it be on Rumble or YouTube, a button that sends people to another channel. I don't even know if that's a thing. I think it is, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's on Rumble, it's /raid, then the URL of where you're taking it to. But I don't know for YouTube. I haven't used that, but I haven't used on either end either, because usually I forget about it at the end, because it's close to night and all that stuff, and you're just thinking, okay, I got to set up for tomorrow. Because I do have to set up for tomorrow after this, so that should be interesting. But I've done it before. It's not that big of an issue. I think so. I use Canva for making my thumbnails, and
I fucking hate you. I'm screwing with you. I don't actually hate you. No, Canva is so fucking limiting. It blows my mind when people use it, just because, man, I just don't see how people can do it. Canva is so bare bones and basic. Like, guys, there's free products out there that are way better than Canva, and it's just because I used to use Canva as well, and I fucking hated it.
That was big chunk of it's free too. I just use it because I'm used to using the system a lot, and I just
it works for you. It works for you. Like I said, I was being facetious when I say, "Hey, dude," it's just one of those things. Like, man, it blows my like. Another thing that blows my mind is live stream only channels. Like, because the idea, at least on YouTube, and I assume I'm both the same. The idea on YouTube is like you post your videos, people see those videos, they become supporters of the community, and then they'll want to watch you live. And so there are people out there that live stream only channels. My friend Gooch is a live stream only channel, and I can't fucking believe that he gets the support he does. And I'm super happy and proud that he does. I'm not like the fact that he can do it as a live stream only channel is amazing.
Yeah,
YouTube's algorithm is not fucking made for that. So like the fact that most people will fail if they're a live stream only channel just because the system isn't built for that.
Yeah, and YouTube's algorithm is such a mess on itself. He says I am both. Yeah, me too. I do.
Same.
I do live streams and I do my shorts, and that's basically it. I don't. I'm not doing like 10, 20, 30 minutes videos or whatever it is, because it's just too much. It's just too much time. I work a full-time job. I can only do what I can, but I enjoy the process of making. Yeah, I use Canva. I use Opus.pro to make my shorts and other stuff as well. But at the end of the day, I'm using the tools that work well for me, and people use other tools that work. Like you use OBS for your stuff. I use Rumble Studios. I don't really pay for it, to be honest, but I use the tools that work well for me, and I just go from there. And it's not a competition. I'm not here. I mean, it is a kind of a competition because obviously you're competing for someone else's time and maybe their money or support or whatever. But at the end of the day, though, you just do what you do and you enjoy it and you have fun with it. Because if you don't have fun with it, then why are you making content? Are you making content?
Right. I agree with that completely. Plus, I don't know about you. I'm competitive by nature, so I do treat YouTube as a competition, but I treat it as a friend. Like I treat it with that Goku Vegeta mentality. Like, okay, I'm going to put out videos, I'm going to put out live streams, and people are going to choose: are they watching me? Or are they watching Vex? Are they watching me? Or are they watching Hypno? Are they watching me? Or are they watching Cult Classic Cage? And like, if these people are choosing Vex or Hypno or Cult Classic Cage over me, by all means, I am so happy for my friend's success. But also, that means I gotta step my fucking game up, make these people choose me, and like it's a friendly competition. Like, hey Vex, I'm gonna fucking surpass you, or hey Cass, I'm gonna surpass you. That same way that Vegeta wants to always beat Goku, and it's a healthy competition. I will never be upset if someone watches Cassie's live stream instead of mine. I will be upset at myself and that, damn, what did I do wrong that they didn't choose me, and what do I need to improve? And I will fuel that as a way to get better. And I want to look at these other YouTubers as rivals as well as friends.
Right, and that's understandable. That's again, it's a personal perspective on what you want to do for yourself, especially in the sense of how you see the competitiveness and then how you treat the competitiveness. Because I was about to say you're not going to go very hard against Vex because she's a woman. So there's a working.
Yeah, I already know I'm better than Vex because she's a woman. Exactly. I don't need to go hard against Vex. Like I'm a man. I have a cock. I am superior to her. It's that simple.
She's gonna come back later and then say something that will trigger you.
Fuck that bitch. I love her so much. Fuck that bitch. She's gonna be on my birthday stream tomorrow. I love her.
Well, that's good. Well, that's great. Well, happy early birthday to you as well. Because
thank you.
I don't think I'll be.
I turn 30 tomorrow. I feel like I'm just gonna wake up and immediately my knees are gonna be bad. Like,
you'll most likely probably feel that once you get close to 40. But if you don't take care of yourself, you probably would feel it at that age too. I mean, it all depends on what you do.
I take moderate care of myself. Like I think that most Americans in general don't fucking take care of themselves. I'm a bit more conscientious of it. I'm not as good as I used to be. I used to be a gym rat. I used to be all like eating healthy. Nowadays, I don't work out near as much as I should, but I do still occasionally work out. I'm on the carnivore diet, and so I go hard on that. However, because it's been the last week has been hectic, I've been cheating more than I should have after going for like a year and like 3 months without cheating whatsoever. I'm cheating more now than I should, and I do feel it. So I would say on taking care of myself, I'm like a 6.5 out of 10, which is still better than probably most Americans, but also there's notable room for improvement. And
Yeah.
I recognize I can improve. I fucking hate people, like legitimately hate. I if given the chance to stab you in the jugular, I would. If people who believe that there's no room for self-improvement or they're too
Yeah.
lazy to want self-improvement, no, you're a waste of human space.
Right. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I wouldn't. I
I
wouldn't.
would. You don't have to. That's okay.
Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't support the lifestyle though. It's like for me, it's like I don't. I mean, I get why people drink, but at the end of the day, though, I don't really see much of a benefit to it because why is there AA meetings? Why are the things where people have to go to get over this sort of? I mean, you could say well, gambling and all this other stuff, but why are the things that people go to
Yeah,
get over this?
anything can become an addiction. And frankly, I used to be a bad alcoholic, and then I quit drinking cold turkey, and I went 6 months without drinking, and it was easy. It was no problem. And so I was like, okay, well, if I can go, I didn't have withdrawals, nothing. I'm like, okay, well, if I can go 6 months and not touch alcohol, maybe the problem was that I just wasn't putting on a good personal limiter. And so I was like, all right, let's test the waters. Let's have a couple drinks and see if I can stop myself. And I could. I was like, okay, let's in a month, let's try it again. And I could. And so I was like, okay, I've come to the realization that I do have the capacity to do all things in moderation. Or not maybe not all things. I'm also a smoker, but like I could drink in moderation. I can play video games in moderation. I can. So it's more about just recognizing the importance of moderation. And I mean, I'm on my second glass for the evening. They were like a little regular shot worth of a glass because I sip alcohol. I never do shots or anything. And
Right.
I know that regardless of how late I'm going to be up tonight, I'm stopping at drink 3. And I'm not gonna have any more after that. I did buy good scotch. I want to appreciate it for the night I'm celebrating and whatnot. But I'm not gonna go overboard. And people I liked the sensation of being drunk. It was fun to play Smash Bros. And the levels sort of be like moving on their own and shit. Like it just felt good. Like it was never. I know people drink for emotional reasons and drink to forget and drink because they're depressed. That was never me. I just liked the sensation of being drunk. However, I knew I had a problem when I got to a point where I couldn't enjoy playing video games when I was sober. If I was playing video games, I had to have a drink in my hand. That was a wake-up call. I was like, wait a sec. This thing I did my whole life growing up before alcohol was ever introduced to me, I'm now not enjoying unless I'm drinking. That's a fucking problem. And so being able to have the strength to go cold turkey and quit, and it's like, okay, it's good to know that can be done. And Fatal Nexus, as for, I do not want to give my state away, but I will say I live in the Midwest. I will go that far. I'll say I live in the Midwest.
Well, I've always said I live in Indiana, so I mean you're not gonna get.
I've been to Indiana multiple times. I love Indiana.
Yeah,
Actually, I fucking hate Indiana, but I love some of the people in Indiana. I'll put it that way.
and and nice. Well, yeah, and that's totally fine too. I wouldn't ask for a state, but I just say I'm in Indiana. That's about as much as you're about getting from me. So, but yeah, but that's also a great example.
I will say that my state borders Indiana. I won't tell you guys which one it is, but I will just say the reason I've been to Indiana so much, my state borders Indiana, and Indiana has got one of my favorite fucking anime conventions of all anime conventions under the sun.
Is it? It's probably the one in Indianapolis. Is the one I'm.
It is in Indianapolis. Yep.
That's the one I'm thinking of then.
Indie PopCon.
No, there was another one, but I think that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, well, the one I refer to, yeah, I love Indie PopCon. Indie PopCon is such a great fucking convention. Yeah, a lot of fun. Try to go every year. It's like an 8-hour drive for me, so I don't make it every year, but I try to go every year.
Yeah, there's one in the town I'm in. It's not that one, but it's one that it's a very small one. I did try going for a couple years, but it's sort of like the odd man out because I'm not as cosplay into it as some of the people are, because they dress up in their favorite whatever. And
damn, yeah, you're not a cosplayer?
Oh no, not like that. Well, I don't even dress up for Halloween, so there's that too.
Oh, bro, I'm a straight up cosplayer. I've done Leon Kennedy. I've done who else have I done? I've done Luffy. I've done Bardock from Dragon Ball Z. What's his name from My Hero? I've done Dobby from My Hero Academia. I love cosplaying. I've been cosplaying. My dad was a nerd, so I've been going to conventions since I was like 6 years old.
Yeah, but the question is what kind of nerd though, because I'm thinking he might have been like Battlestar Galactica and that sort of stuff.
I was never big into Battlestar Galactica, but I did love Stargate. Grew up
Ooh.
reading cyberpunk novels like Neuromancer. Um, that's fucking funny, Fatal. That is hilarious.
Woo! Okay, so Fato's a
That is a deep cut weeb joke. I appreciate that.
oh no, I know what that one is. And that's why I laughed at it because that's deep culture right there. That's like saying Bible Black.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, no, yeah, yeah, books like Neuromancer, shows like Stargate.
Mm.
I'm more sci-fi than fantasy. Between the two.
See, I know a lot of people. There's some people who say they didn't like the movie, but that's how I got into the series because that's how the TV series started, right? Because of the movie, and
Oh,
then you had
you
the
mean
TV.
Stargate?
Yeah, Stargate the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
and that was like an old '80s movie right there. But then you had the
Uh,
series as well,
mhm.
SG-1. I
Yeah,
know.
SG-1 is where I started. Like, I saw the movie afterwards. SG-1 was
Mm,
where I started. I
mm,
saw the movie, which I really liked, but I liked the series more. And then,
mm.
unpopular opinion, my favorite is actually Stargate Atlantis. So
I remember, and that's with uh, Jason Momoa was in that one.
yes, there is a young Jason Momoa in Stargate Atlantis. And I didn't realize that. Like years later, Jason Momoa starts getting popular for like I've never seen Game of Thrones, for example. Apparently, he was in Game of Thrones. Then he goes
Yes.
to be an Aquaman, and I was like,
Mm,
this motherfucker looks familiar. Why do I know this guy? And so I
yeah.
googled him. I was like, holy shit, because I grew up watching him on Stargate Atlantis. What the fuck? Like, yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And the funny thing was, is I know you do try to make the funnies, but that was a deep culture cut right there.
Yeah,
Something,
that was a good one, Nexus. That's one of the funniest comments I've ever received on stream I've been on. That was good.
something I didn't know. Something I didn't know you know as well, because that's a if you know what Boku no Pico is, you wouldn't you wouldn't be making those comments. Um, yeah, he was the husband to Emily, what's her name character?
Amelia Clark?
Amelia, was it Amelia?
I don't know. Like I said, I've never actually played or play. I've never seen. I've only ever seen the
Okay.
very first episode of Game of Thrones. I don't know anything beyond the first episode. That said, I did watch House of the Dragon season 1, and holy
Oh,
shit,
that's
it was
right.
amazing. I've not
Cal,
seen season 2 yet.
Cal
Yeah,
Drogo,
Cal Drago is the character's name. Yeah, Cal
mm,
Drago.
yeah, that was him. Yeah, I've not seen any of the. I mean, I bought like the first and second season of Game of Thrones, but I think once they kind of took Sean Bean out of it, it was sort of like because he really did sell the series,
He
at
is
least
such a good fucking actor. Like, dude, there's always the joke that he dies and everything. And my favorite comment to respond to is the one thing he didn't die in of all things is Silent Hill.
really.
Like, imagine that you're known for dying in movies and TV shows and shit, and then you get the role in Silent Hill, and that's the one time you don't die. Like the most famous horror game besides Resident Evil, and you don't die in the movie adaptation. That is hilarious.
Well, no, there was another movie he didn't die in, and that was Pixels. That was the Adam Sandler movie. He didn't die in that one.
Who was he in Pixels?
He was one of the army guys.
Ironically, oh yeah, he's the one that teaches Adam Sandler them to shoot and stuff. You're right.
Yeah. And
Dude, that movie got so much shit, but I won't lie, I fucking love Pixels.
well, it's a nostalgia thing. You know, a lot of people like the '80s stuff and all that stuff. And the funny thing was is that the actual creator of Pac-Man was in the movie.
No way, I did not know that.
So, hey, Big Black.
How
So
you doing,
when
Big Block Plymouth?
he's a pretty cool, awesome dude. So when in the beginning of the movie, right, when they're showing the arcade games, you know, when they're in there, there's at one point you'll see a sort of Asian-looking gentleman going down to fix one of the machines. That's the creator of Pac-Man.
That is wild. I didn't know that. That's super cool. Yeah, Pixels got so much shit, but I'm a big Adam Sandler fan though. I love Adam Sandler.
I mean, not all of his movies are perfect, but I mean, like,
Oh no, not at all. Not even fucking close. Like,
yeah, 51st Dates. You have what was it? Eight Crazy Nights was
I watched Eight Crazy Nights this past Christmas season. Me and my ex-wife walked away from the aisle to Grow Old with You from The Wedding Singer, which was our favorite Adam Sandler movie together. I mean, we've since split up, so fuck that bitch. But in general, I love Adam Sandler's stand up. I'm a big stand up comedy fan. Like that is, I think stand up comedy is the highest form of art, and Adam Sandler does great stand up.
Yeah, well, and the funny thing is that he actually, from Wedding Singer to the 51st Dates, he did work with, and he's worked with Drew Barrymore on the third. There was another movie he worked. Appointed, was it?
Blended.
Blended. Yeah, because they were like some African safari or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah, they were some African resort, and they're like putting on a ruse of being a blended family, and of course they do end up like falling in love, and it's sweet, it's cute. Wedding Singer is the best of the two of them together. It's a toss up for me, which I like better between Blended and 51st Dates. They're both good. I don't know which I like better.
Well, and then you have the Grown Up movies 1 and 2, and that was pretty great as well because he brings on people he like James. Can't think his last name. David Spade, Chris Rock.
Yeah, Kevin James, David Spade, Chris Rock, and oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? Big Stan.
I can't remember.
Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider. And full disclosure, Grown Ups 2 is one of the only Adam Sandler movies I've never seen. So for whatever reason, that one passed me by. But I love the first Grown Ups.
Hey, Tomby.
Hey, Tomby, how you doing, brother? Man, appreciate you being here.
Yeah, Tomby's a pretty good. He's coming back on in August, so that'll be awesome.
I need to get him back on my show. He's been on once. And it was only a few weeks ago. It was like last month or something. And Tomby is good people. I'm gonna need him back on my show. Absolute sweetheart of a man.
Kevin James, yeah, he's a pretty awesome dude. And
the only problem I have with Adam Sandler casting Kevin James, and I could be wrong about this, it just feels like he's trying to make him the next Chris Farley. If Chris Farley had never died, any role that went to Kevin James would have instead gone to Chris Farley. Like let's be real.
Possible. I don't know. King of Queens. I don't know if that would have gone to Chris Farley.
In an Adam Sandler movie, like when Adam Sandler cast Kevin James, if Chris Farley wasn't dead, Farley would have gotten that role. Let's be real.
Possibly because he was best friends with David Spade as well. So, and of course it was like Black Sheep, and then that other one.
I love Black Sheep. I love Beverly Hills Ninja. Mm-hmm. Obviously, everyone loves why am I blanking on the name? The fat guy in a little coat, the one that made him legit famous.
Tommy Boy's the one I always remember.
Tommy Boy, thank you. Yeah, Tommy Boy. I even like Almost Heroes, which is Chris Farley and Matthew Perry.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, Almost Heroes is hilarious. Basically, Matthew Perry hires Chris Farley to be his Wildersman guide, and they're racing Lewis and Clark to see who can get to the new land the fastest.
That would be a funny movie.
It was the last. It was posthumously released. It was released a few months after he died, and it was his quote unquote last movie.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is that he would have had the part of Shrek.
Yeah. Have you heard the test footage with him as Shrek? I love it. I really do.
It's been a while. What is it? Ethan Suplee was a hell of a transformation.
Suplee. Dude, Ethan Suplee is he should be an icon for anybody that's overweight that thinks they can't do it or whatever. Ethan Suplee.
Oh, I think
transformation magic. He was the guy from My Name Is Earl, and
and Remember the Titans.
Yeah. Remember the Titans, American History X. He was in an old school Sega Game Gear commercial.
Interesting.
Oh, dude, it's a hilarious commercial. Like he's sitting there and playing a fucking Game Boy, and then Sega comes up as like, oh, this is what Game Boy players look like, and they hand him a Genesis, and he turns into some ripped Chad dude and starts playing a Genesis, a Game Gear, and he turns into some ripped Chad dude with women all around him and whatnot. The point is, Ethan Suplee is one of the greatest success stories of modern human what I can do to change myself.
Well, a bit of a celebrity too, but yeah, the funny thing is that Ryan Gosling was also in Remember the Titans. So, oh man, how far that guy's come!
I haven't seen Remember the Titans since 9th grade. I didn't remember Ryan Gosling being in it. I used to love that movie, but I haven't seen it in probably fucking 15 years.
He was in it, and Hayden Panettiere was in that movie as well.
Oh, she used to be a fox. I don't know what she looks like now, but she used to be a fox.
Well, I mean, gosh, she was in the TV show Heroes, which fell down its own hill not a long time ago. So
Yeah.
I think it was maybe the first two seasons were all right, and then after that it was just sort of like no.
And then no one cared for whatever reason. It's like the show didn't even like get bad. It wasn't like a steady decline. It just dropped off a cliff of people not watching it. I don't know what happened with Heroes.
Also,
Bro,
David.
Fatal Nexus. You speaking my language. David Goggins, fucking like, get hard, son. Like, oh, bro, David Goggins, the goddamn hero.
Yep. Save the cheerleader, save the world. Yep, I remember that. But yeah, it's that guy is a monster. Oh, I don't doubt it. Tommy, I got it. I saw the first part, but it's funny after when you've been around for so long, you start remember these old shows and movies and stuff, and you start thinking like, my gosh, some of these people were in it before, and it's like no. They also tried doing a remake. Oh, okay, so they tried doing a remake with Heroes, and it failed because she's saying it
I didn't
flopped.
know that.
Yeah, it seems like not all remakes work. That's the issue, right? Is when people try to remake something, they don't always work. Few have, but not all
There's
of
a
them
few
work.
that have. I would say most don't work, but there are like John Carpenter's The Thing is a remake that worked. Adam Sandler's Mr. Deeds is a remake that worked.
Oh, I didn't know that was a remake, to be honest.
It's a remake of a 1954 movie called Mr. Deeds Comes to Town.
Now, see, there was the movie Cheaper by the Dozen before the one that came later. There was Cheaper by the Dozen with Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt. That was a pretty good one.
I like that. In fact, I've never seen the original Cheaper by the Dozen. I like the Steve Martin one. Steve Martin is one of my favorite stand-up comedians. If I had to make a top, I don't know if he'd be in my top 5. He would probably be at like number 6 on my top 10. And then I love the original Parent Trap. I can't fucking stand the Disney remake with a young Lindsay Lohan because I love the original Parent Trap.
Well, I mean, there's no music. The remake never had any singing in it, and Parent Trap did. So,
but Lindsay Lohan was in a remake of Freaky Friday, and it was really good. I really like the Freaky Friday remake.
Another Freaky Friday as well. There's gonna be another one. I heard there's gonna be Freaky Friday.
That one's going to be a sequel to the remake from when we were kids. Yeah, they're doing a sequel, and yes, Steve Martin ones are good. In fact, Adam Sandler's been in another remake. He was in a remake of The Longest Yard, which the original Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds is good, and the Adam Sandler remake is good. Both ones are okay.
Yeah, there was I just had it into my tongue of a remake of an old one, but Freaky Friday was a remake because there was a Freaky Friday old Disney.
Yeah, there's a Freaky Friday. There was a Freaky Friday movie in like '67 or something like that.
Yeah, and that had Jodie Foster in it.
Oh, maybe it was a little later than '67 than if it had Jodie Foster in it. Maybe either way. Yeah, we're talking about the same one.
Yeah, and it's just funny to see, but the story of it, like they never. I mean, I think in the remake with Lindsay Lohan, it's about a fortune cookie, but in the original, there's no such thing. It's just a happenstance. Like it just like they went to bed and they woke up.
I was nodding along, forgetting I don't have a fucking camera working. Yeah, yes, you are correct. Yes, you can't see me nodding in agreement with Daramouthe here.
I can hear you nodding though. That's it.
There we go.
What's that?
Big Block Plymouth. When you say top 5 stand-up comedians, are you asking for my personal favorite or who I think the best are? Because they are different. Top 5 who I think are the greatest are different than my top 5 personal favorites.
We'll go with the second one. All
right, personal favorites. Let me think of the order here. I know who they are, but let me think of the order to put them in. Number 1 is Dana Carvey. Flat out. Dana Carvey is my absolute favorite stand-up comedian. Number 2 is probably Norm Macdonald. Number 3 is probably Dennis Miller.
No, I've never.
Number 4 is Dan Cummins.
Mm.
And number 5 is who I want to give the last spot to. Anthony Jeselnik.
Never heard of that name. That's a weird one.
He is known for doing really, really dark humor. Really
wow.
Dark.
See, that's interesting. See, I'd be like, I remember listening to what was it? Dana. No, Dane Cook. That's right. Dane Cook was one I listened to a long time ago. Um,
I
they,
don't
I
like Dane Cook's comedy, but I respect the fuck out of. He was the one that brought comedy to social media.
yeah,
Okay,
because
fail Nexus. If I was going to give you the list of greatest of all time, not my personal favorites, but the greatest, yes, George Carlin would be number 2 on that list.
yeah,
I think Norm Macdonald is actually better than George Carlin. I think George Carlin is numero 2. But he would be. Point is, George Carlin would make the top 5 list of the goats.
yeah, no, he's considered one, especially with many others too. I mean, there's older, like
Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce is great.
that's true. I've heard of that name.
Sammy
before.
Davis Jr. is great. He's an old school one. Or not
Yeah.
Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, Richard Pryor. Not Sam. Sorry, different
Rich
black
Pryor.
guy. Richard Pryor.
One could sing, one could not. At least as far as I know, anyway. But
they all look the same. I'm joking.
That's what you say to every Asian. Jeez, that's hilarious. No, but I mean, like Dane Cook was a one I used to listen to. I mean, he was raunchy as all get up. But of course, Robin Williams would be a big one for me.
I love Robin Williams stand up. I don't like a lot of his movies. I love his stand up.
Well, I mean, some of his movies aren't. It's sort of like Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey didn't always have funny movies. He would have emotional impact movies, and
Right, and much like Jim Carrey, I prefer the serious Robin Williams movie. My favorite Robin Williams movie is What Dreams May Come.
Ooh, that was that one, and then 1 Hour Photo was another one that.
Dude, 1 Hour Photo is so fucking good, and almost nobody knows about it. 1 Hour Photo is a great Robin Williams movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you can go on YouTube and you go back old stuff he's been on. Good Will Hunting is always the one that's remembered of him.
See, I can't fucking stand. I know it's a good movie. It is an objectively good movie. It's just a good movie that I hate.
Oh well, now that's just sad. But what about it is a distaste for you?
There are movies that are emotionally driven and impactful that are good, and then there are movies that they get so emotionally impactful they just start coming off as pretentious Oscar bait. And to me, that's what Good Will Hunting. That might not be what they were trying to do. Just Good Will Hunting is just too fucking pretentious for me.
Oh, some people in their taste. But anyway, it is the top of the hour again. And of course, we'll set aside some time to promote ourselves again. So
yes, I've got about 10 more minutes, give or take, just so you know.
Yeah, we'll just end it here after we promote ourselves, and then a few other things. So go ahead and promote yourself, and I'll do mine after.
Yeah, again, for anyone that's just joining, while I appreciate and love being on Rumble, all my videos and I'm on Rumble. You can watch all my stuff there. I will say the bulk of what I do does come from YouTube, so I very much appreciate if you have YouTube, following and subscribing on there. The channel is just like it is here, Words of Paradise. Leon's my name. Words of Paradise is the channel. There's a lot of people like, hey, I can't find you. Well, yeah, the channel is called Words of Paradise. My name is Leon. So yeah, check me out. I do usually about 3 videos a day. I took the last couple of days off because tomorrow's my birthday. I've been doing some stuff with family, friends, things like that. But 3 videos a day covering pop culture through a political lens, just giving my opinions. Man, you don't have to agree with me on anything. I'm not left or right, or frankly, I'm a fucking anarchist, but I mostly tell people I'm libertarian because they can't wrap their head around what a real anarchist is. But point is, I will cover anything and everything just from my own point of view, mostly sticking with nerd culture, but also branching out into politics because I do love politics. And I do 2 live streams a week. I do the CounterCast, which is my big panel show, and then I do a solo show called Neon Leon. And I would just love to see you guys over there, and it is an absolute blast. Sexy Sonia coming in right as we're wrapping up. How you doing, girly? Hey, she's the one that actually made so since we're here and we're promoting and whatnot, this avatar that you're seeing, I've never used before. I couldn't get my camera working. I was like, hey, if I can get my camera working, I got to pop out an avatar. And Sexy Sonia over here is the one that made this avatar literally a couple days ago. So you're seeing the debut. This is the debut of the new Words of Paradise avatar made by this sexy woman.
She is a good looking lady, and I hope to get her on one day. She has her own stuff though, so that's okay. Hey, dear. Hey, Sonia. Nice to see you again after having who was it we had on? Crap. after having so many people, I start running through. But no, she was here for the person I had yesterday as well. No, no, not Friday. It was Thursday. Oh goodness, I'm so bad. I'm sorry.
Was it Common
Uh,
Nerd or?
yes, the common nerd, and he
I love
couldn't
him.
stay.
He's been in my channel multiple times. Common Nerd's a great guy.
Yeah, no, Saturday. Yeah, it was yesterday, Saturday. I thought it was Saturday. Oh my gosh. No, he couldn't stay on very long. He had internet issues, so he dropped out in a minute. But yeah, he was a pretty cool dude, and I hope to have him on again because he does his own stuff as well. But no, yeah, his links are down in the description below. So if you haven't seen him before, the common nerd. Yes, thank you, Sonia. You're as beautiful as always. Um, but yeah, his links are down in the description below. And of course, if you can't find him at his other places, just go to his Twitter X1 and you could find him there as well. But also from my end, guys, if you wouldn't on either YouTube or Rumble, share, like, follow, and comment. All the engagement stuff helps in being seen more to have more people on. Again, it's the cycle. It's the I just did the catch 22 sort of thing. It plays into itself and helps out having other people on. And if you'd like to be on yourself, there's a link tree down in the description below. Just click on the link tree, go to those links, and you'll find me there at those different places. If you don't want to do that, just leave a comment on either YouTube or Rumble, and we can get started from there. Again, I do stream to both ends. It's not just one or the other. I don't prioritize one over the other unless YouTube likes to pull a thing, because they do. But anyway, guys, I appreciate all the help with either engagement or just coming on yourself, because again, it's about reaching across the table to all sorts of different peoples, whether they're people or not. Because I've had VTubers on. But yeah, I really do appreciate it, and I do thank you for coming on, Leon. I know you're a busy guy yourself, and I'm glad we were able to get you on because I know you.
Yeah, I'm glad to have done it. You're right. I'm super fucking busy, but I'm so glad I've gotten to do this. I really am. Thank you. Again, I'm sorry for being late. I did not expect to come home with my computer needing a fucking update. I feel so bad, but thank you.
No, that's fine. And I was glad we were able to schedule that later too, because I know you went to see the Deadpool movie, so that was a good thing. Jesse, oh, she's talking about you, Jesse. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah. My dad bought the tickets like 3 months in advance, and I didn't realize that you and I had scheduled the same day he bought the tickets. I was like, oh no! I told him I was free that day, and I'd forgotten that he bought them like 2 months ago.
Yeah. Well, also, so there's one thing. So if you use Rumble Studios too, they have something that's called an ad read, right? So I'm going to show you, because we have enough people here. I'm going to show you what that is. We'll do the coffee one. I don't know if people like coffee or not. We'll do it on the side.
And I'll give bonus cool points to anybody that can figure out what my name. Sonia, not you. You might know what my name is a reference to. But right before we end, while Daramouthe is pulling up what he's pulling up, if you can guess what my name is a reference to, you'll get cool points.
Don't do that. All right, come on. There we go. All right. It's time to say goodbye to Starbucks and say hello to Rumble's 1775 coffee. Unlike other brands, this is a coffee that backs free speech and is unapologetic about it. Visit 1775coffee.com. Use the promo code Studio40 to get 40% off any coffee subscription. The coffee comes in medium and dark roast. It also comes in pea berry, which is similar to Kona coffee. In other words, this stuff is premium. Click the link in the live chat or the description. You can also go directly to 1775coffee.com and use the promo code Studio40 to get 40% off today. Again, it is 1775coffee.com and use Studio40 to get 40% off today. And if you're a coffee drinker, best place to start. So thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. And it's one of those things where, yes, this is what Rumble Studios offers, where huge fan of Bachelor in Paradise. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Well, I'm guessing he's just saying it because your last name is Paradise. Yes, I look forward to having you on, Sonia, because I know you have a different schedule than most. And
I think what she means is that I'm going to make her come.
Phrasing. But I know people complain about Rumble not having to, doing the whole monetization factor, whatever, and the reach, and they're working on it. Of course, that's what the campaign ad reads are for. Rumble Studios, you can read that, gain some money off of that, and also they just started bettering their recommendation engine, and they're working on making their personalization engine better. Again, Rumble is in that position where it's where YouTube used to be a long time ago until it got Google resources, which YouTube is now. It's Google. And so terrible ABC show. I was kidding. Well, like, we wouldn't have known that. Jeez. Oh goodness. But anyway, yes, I always say is if you want to try Rumble, you got to be consistent, and you gotta promote it just like your other stuff, because you can't just promote one side and not the other. That's all I'm gonna say, because I do promote both. Oh, look at that. But anyway, there's one more thing before we go, and it's called questions from Matt. And so I kind of got combined two very different things that I watched in the past or stuff like that. And so what's going to happen is you'll get two freebies of questions. You need a wife or a girlfriend. I don't know who you're talking to. But anyway, you get two freebies. And after that, if chat would like there to be more than those two questions, they got to pay a rant for it. So anyway,
I got time. By all means, yeah, we can do this. I got that much time. Let's go for it.
I'll make it quick, okay?
No. What I'm saying is, yeah, I'll extend. I can tell the people waiting on me just to keep fucking waiting. If the chat wants to pay you money to ask questions, fucking, I'll say as long. Man, get your bag, get paid. I will hang tight as long as it means you getting money. I'm all about that capitalism, boy.
It's just an extra. Sometimes it doesn't even happen. All right, first question. If I can get it out. What made you want to create content? I think you did answer that a bit, but go ahead and re-clarify it.
My wife left me, and I needed an artistic and creative outlet to not think about the fact that I'm now alone.
Wow, that's deep. I appreciate your deepness, just not that deep. It's like a cut above the rest on that one. Goodness. All right, second one, last one. Unless someone gives a rant. Let's see what. How about this one? All right, got that one. Let's open. For real?
Yes, fail next for real. I was not making a joke with that answer. Like, I would not be doing this if it were not for the fact that my wife just fucking dipped.
Okay, here's one. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you at the pearly gates?
Give me a sec to think about that. And then while I'm thinking about it, if anybody wants to donate to a homie here for some extra questions, feel free. Let me think about what I would like God to say.
Jesus, that's his reason. Jeez.
Let me introduce you to Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
I guess it'd be reintroduced because I've met him before. I met him like 2 years before he passed. And yeah, let me reintroduce you to Stan Lee.
Ooh.
That or Hey Gabba Gabba Hey.
Gabba Gabba. Dear Lord, it's been so long since I've heard that name. Jeez. Oh, thank you, Sonia. See, Sonia is the ultimate cheerleader. That's why everyone loves her, is because she's first off, she's pretty as heck, but she's also everyone's. Here is to his exes. All right, we'll pull another one out. Phrasing, I know, but okay. Here's one. Not the same as the last one. Thank goodness. Okay. All right. Gosh dang it. Here we go. What does freedom of speech mean to you?
Oh, well, this is a beautiful question because I am a freedom of speech absolutist to the point where it pisses off both the right and the left wing. I was one of the few individuals that did say that the people who were calling that were not calling for the assassination of Trump, but who were agreeing with it, saying, oh, good, stuff like that. I believe they should have had the right to say that sort of stuff because I'm a freedom of speech absolutist. To me, look, the reason I'm an anarchist is because I believe in ultimate freedom. I believe the greatest capacity for the most important instrument of humanity is freedom, whatever true freedom means. And so freedom of speech means what it means to me is being able to say whatever you want to say with no persecution from any sort of governmental power that only has the power because we, the people, gave it to them. And if you live in an institution that gives you if you live in an institution that under an institution that gives you that freedom, then it is up to you, the individual, to respect that freedom and to use it to your fullest extent. Platform people with bad speech. Platform them. That way, the the viewers and the people paying attention can see that bad speech and can reject it. If a business wants to have a rule that says, I don't hire black people, let that business have that rule, because then the community can get together and say, we disavow this ideology. We will collectively stop shopping here, and you will put them out of business purely based on your freedom of speech and actions, not because some government said it wasn't allowed. So yeah, freedom of speech to me is power to the individuals to say their piece, no matter what that is, within the purview of not violating the rights of other individuals. Your freedoms end where another person's begin.
Yeah, to not be compelled to say or not say, basically. And Sonia Big Block says hello. But anyway, so that leaves another one. Okay, I think this one we haven't pulled yet. What is this one? Oh, I gotta pull that. What's
Fatal Nexus? I do. I don't advertise it often because I do all my videos and everything from a secular lens, because I feel like if your arguments are strong, you should be able to make them from a secular point of view. But on a personal level, yes, I am a Christian.
Okay. So the question is, what's a book that changed your perspective on something?
World War Z.
Ooh, did you enjoy the movie they made from that, though?
I enjoy the movie as a zombie movie. It is a well-made zombie movie. It is a fucking garbage adaptation of the book. World War Z changed my perspective because for anyone that has not read it, it is not a straight narrative. The zombie war is like a decade or so past in the book, and it is a journalist going through and interviewing survivors, and all the survivors have different stories to tell about what they experienced during World War Z. And there's one specific interview where the interviewer is interviewing a general, an army general, who says that zombies were the very first army, quote unquote, to be capable of what is literally of total war. Because the idea of total war, every government that's ever competed and been in a war comes to a point where they declare total war on another nation. You know, we declared total war on the Nazis, this, that, and the other. But what total war means by definition is you eat, sleep, and breathe that war. Literally nothing else matters. And in the book, it is only technically capable by zombies because since they only have their instincts to go off of, they are running this war on instinct, on just wanting to continue to consume flesh. And the idea to me that really no human can actually attain the real meaning of total war, that's just lip service, opened my eyes in like 9th grade or whatever.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Because I didn't know there was a book that the movie was based on. So that's what got me.
The book is fucking amazing. I highly recommend everyone read it. The movie, again, is a great zombie movie, but it is nothing, like literally nothing like the book.
Yeah, and sometimes the book is better than the movie. I mean, I watched the Harry Potter series. I should know. Oh, but anyway, there's one question too, but that's up to you if you want to answer it. It's from Nexus.
How do you reconcile Romans 13 with being an anarchist? All right, so you first of all, let me know in the chat what Romans 13 is. Well, I do follow Christ. I don't have the fucking Bible memorized. So while we're still going, I guess I can just Google Romans 13. Give me a moment here.
Yeah. Usually trying to find if it was mentioned earlier. Oh, well, the chapter and number were mentioned, but not the verse.
So it's probably, let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted. All right, so here's how I reconcile that. I don't even need to finish it. First of all, the authorities that are in power that have been in the Bible, in the writings, are written at a time when almost all governments were theocracies. So, for example, you could easily say, why don't you follow? Why not follow the authority of the late 1930s and 40s Germany that wanted to exterminate the Jews? I mean, that authority was given by God. That government authorities. No. They were not a theocracy. a theocratic government, which is what most governments were back then, hypothetically, in theory, yes, were governments that supposedly were granted by God. But again, that goes against the teachings of so much of the rest of the book because, let's say false idols, for example. You are not supposed to bow down to other to other beings of power using the Lord as their basically using the Lord as a smokescreen for whatever their political and social ideologies are. So, in being an anarchist, my allegiance is to freedom and to free will, which God has granted us. And there is nothing about any modern government that I believe God, gave the power to. That defeats the purpose of free will, because if God gave that power to the government, then that eliminates the free will aspect. And the Bible makes it very clear that it was the Lord that gave us free will. So that to me is one of those passages that just goes to show that man wrote that to control other man, and not that was the actual teachings of God.
Yeah, and that's pretty interesting. Now, of course, Sonia. Thank you, Sonia. Now we get to draw another one because of Sonia.
Thank you, Sonia.
Now let's see. I'm not looking. I'm hoping I'm not drawing the same one. I've never gone this many before, so just bear with.
And that's fair as well, Fatal. Yeah. Oh, really? I'm your most chatted stream. Hell, fucking yeah. Anyways, the way it was explained to me is that the government strays from God's word, then you have an obligation to disobey. And that is assuming that they believed in God's word to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Preach, she says. Preach, she says. All right. The question is, what's a childhood memory that still makes you smile?
So, if you can't tell my laughter, I already have my answer. So I have a little brother. He's 5 years younger than me. I'm the oldest of I'm the oldest of five, and this memory is about my youngest brother. I was probably 12 years old or so, and so my little brother would have been about 7, give or take. We had a Nintendo GameCube, and we had the game Naruto Clash of Ninja 2. And in that game, you could do 4-player battles, but you had to hit a button to basically to tell the game of who you were wanting. If 4 people were playing, you would have to choose who you're attacking, basically. And so me, my best friend, who is my roommate to this day, by the way, and my little brother and someone else, I don't remember who, were all playing. And my little brother, obviously being the youngest, all of us were in like 5th, 6th grade, and he was in elementary school. He was like crying and screaming, like, "Quit ganging up on me. Everyone's ganging up on me." And so my roommate, Cookies, was like, guys, stop. Everyone stop ganging up on Deuce. And so we all stopped for a moment. And then he immediately used his fucking ultimate special attack on my little brother after we all stopped attacking him. And just the moment of the look on my brother's face was, thank you for telling them this, and immediately turned to the jaw drop of betrayal. Just within a matter of 2.5 seconds, I still fucking think about that and smile, because it was like, this was before there were YouTube channels of top 10 anime betrayals. This was like a real life moment of top 10 anime betrayals.
Oh, why? Yeah, that's hilarious.
I even remember the character he was using was that my roommate. Well, again, it wasn't my roommate at the time. We were like 12, but the Cookies was using. He was using Kakashi, and he used the Chidori, the lightning blade, on my little brother, who I think was playing Sasuke, but I don't remember.
Oh man, that game is so old though. That's like 2000s right there. Jeez,
yeah. This was like 2006, the latest.
Jeez, I don't even remember what I was doing at 2006. That's how old I am, and I'm much older than you. So, well, not by much, but still a little older. But all right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Of course, no more is in the chat of that regard. So no more questions can be asked, and of course, Paradise. Oh. WAP. I would say WAP, but that just leads.
You call me Leon, WAP, Words. People call me Words. Whatever you want to call me. I don't give a shit.
Words of Paradise has to get going to his other things, so we are going to send him off. But before we go, oh, she's just saying hello. But anyway, as always, we end with One Day With You. Bye, Pogo. Hope to see you guys tomorrow at. Oh, that's right. Before I go, the person who's coming on tomorrow. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, it is a person by the name of Zariel, Zahryl, and this is also another VTuber, I believe, as well. At 7 p.m. Eastern, I hope you will be able to come and join us tomorrow, as I'm also trying to reach out to that branch of this internet ordeal, while other platforms and other types of content creators. So, but anyway, like I said before, 7 p.m. Eastern was real, and as earlier, One Day with You by Pogo. Have a great night, guys. And you are always welcome back, Words of Paradise, because this was fun. See you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.